Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And boom, we are live. Okay, so let me drop that down and let me pull this up. Let's get this thing. Okay, there it is. Let's do the sound check. Let's get this thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sound check is correct and in effect. Okay. So let me get this thing. Let's tidy up the thing. Let's make the thing presentable. Uh-oh. That's not what I want to do. I want to do this. Hold on. Edit that. Let's get this thing correct. Save that and show that. Okay, I like that. That looks nice. What else? So we got the sound check done. The screen looks right. As a matter of fact, I can make the screen look even nicer. Uno momento. Mommy, slow your tempo. Let's get rid of that. And get this in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so you are in tune to Boxing Talk with Rafi. 222, triple two, treble two. Okay, and what's the subject matter? Looking at a few things to look at, quite a few things to look at after the weekend's action, and more besides. Okay. So, Mayweather coming to the UK, and Fury sends warning to Joshua. And, where's Waldo? Where's Wilder? What's happening with Wilder? It's gone quiet again. Okay, we'll get to that later. But first things first. Let's, What are we gonna start? What are we gonna do? I think we're gonna. Yeah, I know. We're gonna go in for the warm-in video. Okay, so let me line that up like so. Nice and gentle, nice and easy. Easy does it. Where are we gonna go with this? Where are we gonna start off? Yeah, I know exactly where we're gonna start off. Let's get this right. Yes. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's stop it right there. So slide this thing up so you can see what I can see. Stop sharing that and start sharing this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's line everything up. Let's line everything up correctly. Okay. Boom. Let's stop the music. Where's the music? Yeah, stop that and start this. In their way, they have elevated themselves to WBA regular champion. Okay, so Trevor Bryan managed this feat by defeating Romain Stavern by 11-round KO, or was it TKO? Got stopped on his feet. Referee waved it off after Romain Stavern got dropped 2 times in the 11th round. Okay, so Mahmoud Shah fell foul of the WBA when he didn't have the right work permit to fight in the US of A. As we know, Mahmoud Shah, I think is originally a Syrian, now resides in Germany. Went over to the USA to fight Trevor Bryan, but without the right permit, work permit, he could not do so. So the WBA got the standing, Domain Stavern, to step in Manuel Char's place. And as I have previously reported, Don King wanted the WBA to have them vacate Manuel Char's position. And they were fighting now. So as a result of that, the WBA complied. And now Trevor Bryan is the WBA regular champion. Okay, the belt was made available following a ruling made by the WBA on Friday afternoon, downgrading Mahmoud Shah for failure to defend his title in a timely fashion. Shah has not fought since winning the belt in a 12-round decision over Alexander Ustinov. You remember Joe Joyce finishing Ustinov. How many rounds was that? Was that 5? Okay, went the distance with Mahmoud. That was in 2017. The inactive period extended after issues with event promoter Don King in securing a P1 travel visa in order for Shah to fly from Cologne, Germany, to be able to fight in the United States. Okay, so so Bryan ultimately faced Stavern. That's kind of interesting that the last few times we've seen Stavern has been against Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce. Deontay Wilder finishing Stavern in 1 round, and I think Joyce finished him in 2. The goal for Bryan is to remain far more active become far more active in 2021. Although his hopes of landing a super fight with WBA super champion Anthony Joshua remains out of reach for the time being. Okay, so England's Joshua is due to face lineal WBC Tyson Fury. As it stands, the WBO #1 contender Alexander Usyk is the next mandatory challenger in the rotation. Although he has been ordered to enter an interim title fight with England's Joe Joyce to allow Joshua and Fury to get their fight on for the undisputed. Okay, so interesting tidbit there is that Alexander Usyk has been ordered to face England's Joe Joyce. Okay, that may have flown under the radar. This is a fight to show everyone that I'm back, but the problem with that is that the last 2 times Stavern fought, he went a total of 3 rounds. And now he's pretty much gone almost went the whole distance, 11 rounds. What's that? 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, he almost went quadruple that in this one fight. But it's very clear that Trevor Bryan is looking to land that the prize fight that he and Don King have been angling for some time, and looking to gain there with WBA super champion Anthony Joshua. Trevor Bryan is now the WBA regular champion. Okay, so we'll have to see how that pans out. But in the meantime, that's it. And this was it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so Mr. Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, and I'm out. Okay, boom,
Boom. Boom. What's going on? Let's get the music back. Let's get the music back. Okay. You just caught me there, spreading the news, spreading the good news, spreading it around that we are live. Okay. Let's stop that. Let's come out of that. And matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. First thing, let me change the music. Boom. Okay, that's better. Much, much better. Now let me change the screen. Boom. 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 Okay. So, where are we going to begin? That's where we're going to begin. We're going to begin with the A side, Trevor Bryan and the manual Cha, and in comes. Oh, let's stop that. Let's drop down the warming video. That's done now. And in comes straight away a man like EJ Boxing. EJ Boxing, how you doing?
I'm all right.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Why you don't say EJ Boxing Live? That's my full title, EJ Boxing Live.
Is that the full title? EJ Boxing's Live. EJ.
Yeah, because I'm live all the time. That's I'm live is like an expression that I'm happening now, and also my energy that I'm full of life. You know what I mean? Live. You know what I'm saying? So those are EJ Boxing. I was like EJ Boxing Live, bro. But it's all right, Rafi. I'm good.
EJ Boxing is live. Live.
No, not EJ Boxing Live. But yeah, Rafi. Hey, it's good to come over. Good to come over. I think I haven't been for your show for a minute. What are you talking about? Because I'm on my lips here, ready to talk about is the documentary I saw on BBC One.
Yeah, we can start with that. We can start with that. Daniel Kinahan was on BBC, on the BBC. I think I was the first channel, the first boxing channel that extensively covered Daniel Kinahan. So if anybody is on the channel now, either now or in the future or near future, you can go into my channel. I think it's up there on the channel on the what page is it? What page is it? If you go into the channel, hold on, let me do this live. See how you can get to it for people who don't know how to navigate channels too well. Yeah, so you click on my name, that'll take you to the channel, and one of the videos. Where is it? How do you get to it? Yeah, one of the featured videos. Call it featured video. The featured video is entitled Daniel Kinahan Exposed ? Tyson Fury under scrutiny, etc. Yeah, but run with that. I did that like last year, sometime June last year, but run with that. I didn't see the program. Talk about it.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I've been busy, man. I haven't seen it.
Well, basically, he's talking about all the nefarious things they've been up to. They had a feud with the Hutchisons where they, one of the members was with them and they got killed, and backwards and forwards. And the Hutchisons were looking for the Kinahan in the mansion, and Michael, what's his name again?
One of the boxers, a boxer.
The trainer, one of the trotters, he was there, and that's when he got shot. Jamie Moore got shot in the leg because they were looking for him.
That's right.
Also, Kell Brook got stabbed in his leg. That was in Spain as well. And I think, what's his name again? $1 Million Collar, he got smashed in the back of the head as well. Because of over in Spain as well, over argument and stuff like that. So they've been involved in a lot of nefarious stuff, man. And I was talking to people about it, and they goes, they haven't got a bad word to say about us. I'm like, of course not, because if you have a bad word against, they're gonna throw you off the balcony. And yeah, this is serious stuff, man. And like they're not in Spain no more because they've caused too much trouble there. So what they've done now, they're based in Dubai now.
Yeah,
they're hot, and then they're trying to get them extradited back to England. Now the big thing about the documentary is Barry McGuigan's the only one to come out and say and tell in court that Carl Frampton, when he left Barry McGuigan, the big selling point is that he didn't have to pay 25%. They go, what do you mean? He goes, you don't pay 25%? He goes, no, I don't pay that. He doesn't pay anything. So they're thinking, where's he getting paid? So the fighters who will sign with them are making a lot of money. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So why are they not paying? Why are they not paying the standard 25%? What's that all about?
Because the thing is, they've got money launderings. They've got so much money that you don't have as a fighter. They just make you money. You make money to stay with them, so you'll become rich. Remember, boxers, when you're with them with Wiggins, pay 25% to Barry, who's the promoter. Pay another 25% to his brother, who's the manager, and then you pay 10% to Shane. So basically, you're losing money. You're not losing money, but they're taking off your money. You're doing all the work. With the Killigans, like you just make money. Just make money. You know, you can keep your money. You keep your 25%. You can make as much money. You know, that's what.
So it would seem then that it would seem then that that the reason, arguably, on the face of it, it would seem then that the reason why they're not taking money from the fighters per se is that they just want the cachet of the prestige of having these big fighters.
Yeah, oh yeah. Also, there's somewhere to put the money. They got so much money. It's like Brewster's Millions. They got so much money. They're like, yo, we need to get rid of this stuff, yeah. So why am I putting to the boxers who are craving and starving to better their lives? And the boxers are getting raped. You know, let's get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. Boxers, you know, the little pennies they earn and the amount of bruises they get, they might feel good, but when you look at the bank balance, half the boxers are robbed and they ain't got no money. But you look at all the MT Glow founders, right? This is what I heard about MT Glow, yeah. When you sign with them, if you got a trainer, get rid of him. We'll find you a trainer. So basically, they're creating jobs for all their people who's with them, and then they give you the logos and you work for their banner. But at the same time, this is where I think it gets a bit messy. Is when they start telling you who to win and who to lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they've done that. Right. Because there's no thing, but that as boxing comes on, that's the next step. Because the only reason you do that is so you can control. And the thing is, going into the biggest fight of the century, AJ and Fury, are there going to be any underland influences against AJ? You see what I'm saying? Or with Eddie Hearn, you know? That's something. And the thing is, Barry McGuigan coming out. The reason why is because and even though I say Barry McGuigan took money off him, he's earned the right because he put a lot of money into Frampton from the amateurs and invested how much money into them. So he wants to reap the rewards as they go on, you know, as Frampton's winning the title. He's like, well, boy, why can't I get my money back from him? But it's earnest, it's earned proper, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, and it's not anything nefarious. But these guys, it's like Barry McGuigan built up Josh Taylor. Who was Josh Taylor without the McGuigans? Who was Carl Frampton? They built them up, and all of a sudden, these guys whispering it in, they're gone, and both these fighters are gone. So he look at Barry McGuigan. Who's he got now? Who have they got now? They got no one.
Yeah.
So on the documentary, the documentary was mainly based in Ireland and coming from Ireland standpoint, because I don't think. And then they put in the documentary, they put Frank Warren and they put Eddie Hearn in there. And they put Bob Arum in there as well. Bloody, and they put Tyson Fury, big right in front that I'm working with that the killer Danny Cannon has sorted out, has made the fight between me and AJ. That's the reason why this thing's gone on, because they're realizing these people are actually infiltrating the whole of boxing. And it's like, well, what because they got that sort of background, what are they gonna do to influence the thing? Remember, you got the whole glove scandal, which has come out.
Yeah.
So that's happened on a major stage. You know what I'm trying to say? So these people are right at the top of they're right at the top of the tree now. It's not like they're just a mediocre thing. They're right at the top of boxing with Tyson Fury backing them, and they got Billy Joe Saunders and all that stuff. They've got a big money backing. You know what I mean? They're on Sky. They're everywhere. Like two of my fighters in my gym, they're MT Global. Spencer Fearon's underneath them, and IFL as well.
Well, Spencer Fearon came over here, and well, I've got to give the counter argument to that, because Spencer Fearon came over here, and he said that they were a damn good outfit. They do a lot of work for charity. They look after their people, and Marvin Herbert, you've heard of Marvin Herbert. I know you've heard of Marvin Herbert. big character of the moment, ex gangster, came out of that game and now he's mentoring, and he has nothing but praise, nothing but praises for Daniel Kinahan. Said that Daniel Kinahan helped turn his life around, turn him away from criminality. So we have to look at this objectively and say that, you know, there's two narratives going on. On the one hand, they're criminals. On the other hand, you know, we got an ex-gangster saying that Daniel Kinahan turned him away from criminality.
But that's because they need people authentically to champion their cause. I mean, it's not silly. It's like me hiring a nun to work for me. You know, that's a front, isn't it? I mean, of course he's going to say that, and Spencer and the rest of them are going to say what they're saying, because Spencer used to work for Sky and he wanted diversity in Sky, and they said, look, don't worry about them, Spencer. You come over here, we'll look after you, and they are looking after Spencer. You know, he's making sure. But let's get it twisted. If you're affiliated with them, and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time when the Hutchinson come to put the boots to you, you're going to get shut up, mate. Because the bottom line is that for them to get that money, or how they got that money, is a lot of blood and tears, in it. And that's what Barry's saying, in it. Because look, there's gangsters in boxing, right? As you know, with the Italian mob, and they was the one telling who could win and who could not. So that's what basically that's what we're talking about here. What they're money laundering and they're reaching out to, but initially they're only good as long as you're with them, like as long as you agree with them and you think, oh, they're great, of course. So what about people who don't disagree with them? They're the ones who get thrown off the balcony. You know what I mean? Throwing off balconies and shotting your leg. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So it's like you know, that's where they're reading the roots for. And yeah, he's nice. Of course he's nice, bro. He's not gonna. Bro. I've never known gangsters come up to you and be horrible people. They're not. But when it is, it's only because you agree with them. When you start saying nah, I don't think that's a good idea, then you'll have a problem with them. When you start saying no to them, go, well, you need to think about it again. You know what I mean? When they come up to you and say, look, you need to throw that fight. What do you mean you need to throw that fight? You're wearing our logo, just throw that fight. Don't worry about it. We'll look after you. Because listen to this, yeah. When I interviewed Nicola Asbury, he's got voice notes of Ben Davis, legit Ben Davis on the phone, right? About the glove situation, right? Mentioning, because they found that obviously the glove, they took the stuff out of the gloves, so Tyson hit hard.
Yeah, man, you're sounding robotic there. You're sounding robotic, EJ. You're sounding robotic. Is your connection good?
Yeah, what, you can hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's more.
Okay, I'll come back.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I missed the documentary, but I did do. I think most people who are here were here for my documentary, which I did. I think it was June 2020. Boom. How are you now? I 1 2 1 2.
I sound better now?
Yeah. I think you're good.
I sound better now?
I think you're good. Yeah.
All right. So what I'm saying to you is that you sign innocent people to work with you to warn people off, and that it was working because I stopped. People stopped talking, even though they changed the name, but it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. The glove scandal's going on, and and the thing, this is why no one's really talked about the glove scandal, because these people are involved. And then you're talking about IFL, who's involved, who have their shows up there. And you're talking about Sky. I heard Barney Francis from Sky, he got bullied to give them the contract because he's going out with that girl, isn't it? The girl with the glasses. Yeah. She used to be with Kinahan. I think she was with Kinahan, or she went with Barney Francis, or whichever way. And he didn't. Barney Francis said something about it, and they confronted him. And he put them on Sky when Eddie Hearn was the exclusive broadcaster for Sky. And this is why Eddie Hearn is trying to go with DAZN now, because he doesn't want to be affiliated with Sky and them gangsters when things go down. It makes sense. That's why he's probably branching in America and going with DAZN, trying to stay away from that stuff there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's interesting. And in comes the Iron Kong. How are you today?
Yeah, evening, Rafi. Blessed to you. How it is? What's up, EJ?
Yeah, man, it's good. So cool.
Yes, Iron Club. Yes, bless her, Iron Club. Yes, sir.
It's cool in the gang. We're talking about the MTK scandal. Looks like it's blown up again.
Well, all I would say, I've been listening, but I would, of course, caution anybody from getting involved with any gangster thing, because if you follow MMA in Japan, in Pride, that's how Pride FC went under because of heavy Yakuza ties.
Yeah.
And the government ended up infiltrating everything and just essentially breaking down Pride from the inside because they were affiliated with Yakuza. So if anybody there, I think EJ is saying, these people don't come to you with no horns, they come to you with a halo until. So if don't get sucked into all that. So whoever people, cook your goose.
Pride FC. I was on Twitter. I was looking at Alistair. Overeem. James Jameson says there was no glove scandal. We'll talk about that in a second, James. I was looking at Alistair Overeem post, and man, it took me back. Those sweet memories, those knees, those guillotines. Taking out. Yo, so yeah, very full. Taking out what's his name? Vitor Belfort by a guillotine choke. Taking out next man with knees to the ribs, knees to the face. And I have to say, I miss those days, but you correctly state that the Yakuza involvement in Pride FC is what brought them down. But I gotta pose this question to EJ. EJ, there was a big announcement that Daniel Kinahan had stepped away from MTK. Did the documentary you saw, did that contradict that?
Yeah. Well, what happens is that this is where they continued that, right? So they got a person in America who is the CEO. So the reporter went to America and went to the guy's house. And what he said, he didn't see it, but he went to the guy and talked. And this is what he said in the car. They said to him, "Are you the CEO?" He goes, "Yeah." And what's Daniel Kinahan got to do with the Tyson Fury fight? He goes, "Well, he helped advise them." And he goes, "Does he know he's still working?" He goes, "No, he's still the main guy, but he's still working with." So he's basically still advising Fury and still continue that. So yeah, he even though he's not legitimately in the company, he's still behind there pulling the strings and telling people. He's put a front man in America as a CEO, and because he questioned, that's what the reporter said. So he goes, yeah, he's still working behind the scenes for boxing. I mean, Fury came out and brokered the deal and said, this is why the document come, because Fury's come out on his thing. This is why they realized he's brokered the deal between Tyson Fury and AJ. It's happening this year. So it's done. The deal's done. It's over. Because remember, think about this, right? And think about it carefully, everyone listening. The WBO was a roadblock, right? It was a roadblock, a real big roadblock. And they said the man treated that Usyk. Now, all of a sudden, how comes that's gone away so quickly? That's actually just disappeared. It's like no one's even questioning it. How can the WBO 1 minute they say Usyk has to be, and we talk about step aside money, whatever, and now no step aside money, nothing. The WBO say we're okay with the fight now, because remember WBC didn't get along with WBC. So who's gone behind closed doors and made sure that's gone all right? You know what I'm saying? This gets a bit. This is why the documentary came up, because they're realizing the reach of boxing, them with their money laundering. They don't care. They just give money up to boxers free of charge, whatever. Everyone talk about Al Heyman and free boxing, but these ones are even worse, because, bruv, I'm telling you, the biggest fight of the century, and these guys are involved in. Now, you're talking about Andy Joshua, the prized possession of the UK, clean cut, everything. What if they get to him and threaten one of his family members and say, you got to take a dive in this route to Tyson Fury? What if they did that to Wilder? I don't know, but it begs to differ that the influence that these people have in America, and even though they're still being chased up, they're in Dubai, you can't really get to them. These are the sort of influences they could do in the game. Now, Spencer Fury works for them, and if you talk to Spencer about that, he won't want to say any bad words against them. You know what I'm saying? Anyone works for them, they've been told that if you say anything, I think that all their phones have been tapped. I'm going to be honest with you. I think all their phones have been... No, you're low. I think it's true.
Oh, MG
It's almost like a
Revelation.
cult. It's like a cult. You talk about the LDBC.
Revelations are being revealed over here at the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Share my shizzle and fertilize the earth. Okay. So I have to add that the views being expressed are no way a reflection of the channel. These are simply individual perspectives and individual objectives, points of view. So we have to put that little disclaimer there. And I also have to add that Daniel Kinahan has never been convicted of any criminal. Doesn't have any criminal convictions. EJ Boxing.
I put it to you,
Yeah.
People talk about the LDBC and their influence in boxing in terms of persuasion, but since their champion's gone down, they've been crickets in it, right? But with this one, this one is like
which champion?
This one, is champion? So vicious, and it's like getting other because you're affiliated with them. Your life could be your life can be threatened. You get me? And that's when it gets to the point. It's like, ooh, I mean, Barry McGuigan on the show, they asked him, "Don't you feel worried about any repercussions?" Nah, I've seen loads of things in my life. I'm not scared, and I'm gonna tell the truth. Someone needs to stay, and big up to Barry McGuigan for doing it. But he had his own interest. He's right. He built it, but he did build them fighters from his own blood and sweat, and gave them a branding. And he built just at the top. That's when they're at the top of the game. These people come and pluck them because they got. This is what he said in the gym. He said one of his fighters in the gym got a phone call from that. This is after the training. Got a phone call with Daniel killing him, and he goes, "What do you mean got a phone call from him?" Well, what did he say? And Barry said, "What did he say?" He said, "He wants me to join him." He goes, "But you've got a contract with us." He goes, "Yeah, I know, but he's calling me." And then next you know, Barry's taking the guy to court. You know what I'm saying? To get his money from the fighter. So it's like the influence is so extreme to the point that even you got a contract with a management company, you're still gonna leave them. So you tell me what's going on there, bruv. What kind of weight are they putting on you to make you do that?
Okay, I haven't seen the documentary, but it certainly looks interesting or sounds interesting. Yeah, sounds deep, very, very deep. Definitely gonna have to check that one out. As far as I know, there was a press release saying Daniel Kinahan has stepped away, but it seems like this documentary from the BBC is implying otherwise. Iron Kong, they're saying that Daniel Kinahan did not step away. Iron Kong.
But I wouldn't be surprised if most of these dudes just kind of melt in the background enough, so you kind of forget about them a little bit, But they always have a mouthpiece in front, but they have their hand, quote unquote, up their butts. You know what I'm saying? Like a puppet talking to them. So they're still making the decisions. It's like Al Heyman. You don't see Al Heyman, but his influence is everywhere, right? So same for him.
Yes.
And that's pretty smart, right? If you're a gangster, you don't want to be seen too much. You want to be in the background.
You want to be in the background. You want to keep a clean criminal record.
But he's not though. Kong is not though. He's actually what in the documentary. They've got him in the ring with Macklin when he got knocked out by Jorge Highlander, and they've got him pictures. They've got pictures with him, Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn, and they got and also Bob Arum defending him. So he's not in the background, bro. Man's out there. Man's out there, brazen and bold in the public.
But he's not.
Walking Tyson Fury to the ring. Tyson got to the ring.
He's not there anymore. He's not in the forefront. He's not in the forefront anymore, though, is he? He's faded. He's faded to the background.
That's what the documentary is showing that he still is, but he's just not got the company name, so you can't really fill it to him. That's why the documentary came up, but. He's not that Al Heyman. He's actually out there.
How old was that fight though? Well, when he was with Macklin, that was an old fight. Yeah, you don't do that no more. He's not in the ring anymore.
He was walking with Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury was fighting Wilder, bro.
He was walking with Tyson Fury?
Yeah. Sometimes I tell you, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
He just didn't go into the ring.
Dang. As long as Joshua versus Fury happens, all is forgiven. Well, that's something we're gonna have to talk about. Iron Kong. It looks like Kinahan may have played a role. Tyson Fury credits Fury, credits Kinahan with playing a role in getting the Joshua fight over the line. So, if that is the case, do we have to give Kinahan credit for something at least?
Well, if Kinahan is gonna keep his hands off of the fight, great. But we know boxing, even in America, has roots, and it's some exceedingly corrupt roots, mafia don stuff, and all this sort of nonsense. So none of this is surprising. As long as he stays away from Oluwafemi, I'm cool. If he wants to be around his Irish, quote unquote Irish people, I remember when the whole thing went down, Billy Joe Saunders was all depressed. Oh, my friend, this, my friend. I'm like, Billy Joe, this man's a gangster. Why are you publicly saying this man is your friend? This man is a gangster. So that's not surprising to me. But people like Tyson Fury, people of questionable moral fiber, would be associated with such people. So as long as he keeps his hands off of Oluwafemi, I'm cool, man.
Yes. So we have to look at because that has to be a concern when you have questionable characters, arguably questionable characters involved. You have to wonder. Best they stay away. We don't really need, if indeed he is a gangster. I say if, I have to stay balanced here. If indeed he is connected with gangsterism, which the press are saying he is, multiple attempts have been made to get him into court. So if he is, and of course he's over there in Dubai now. So it seems like he's trying to stay out of reach. Crazy documentary. I'm gonna have to catch it on what is it?
Where do you think the Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury in AJ fight gonna happen?
When it's gonna happen?
Where?
Where?
In Dubai.
It's gonna happen in Dubai. It's gonna happen in
Dubai. The killer on the Kinahan headquarters. That's why.
Yeah, but where else would pay for the fight?
Yeah.
No, but what I'm trying to say to you is that you guys are saying, I hope he stays away from the fight. But what I'm saying is that they're going right to his hometown.
No. Not stay away from the fight. He could go to I'm saying stay away in terms of not trying to influence this thing in no illegal way.
He's already done already though. He's already influenced it already. That's what I just said. Is the WBO after it's collapsing. That's what I'm trying to say. Remember, the WBO was a stumbling block. They don't want to work with the WBC because the WBO, when they were up and coming, the WBC was blocking them on every turn, and they didn't work with them. But all of a sudden, they're all cool now, right? And I'm trying to say to you, the fight that one of the biggest fights of the century. How come this guy has brokered it? And because the reason why he can broker it, because really and truly, they can make as much money as possible because he doesn't care because he's got money. So when it comes down to, because usually the negotiation stumbling block is how much who's getting. So if you go 50-50 and everything's fair, like Kidnams, we don't care, we make money. They don't care if they make money because they're money laundering already. So it's just more money, more money, more problems. So they could easily make the fight. But what is the influence around their fight and also where the fight, the location. So the influence has already been done. That's why the documentary is to come up to make people understand that these people are controlling, basically on the verge of controlling the heavyweight championship of the world, and they're in bed with all the top promoters and controlling boxing. The only one they didn't implicate in the thing is Al Heyman, but they implicated Frank Warren, which a lot of people were upset. Why did they mention Frank in the thing? Because they reckon Frank might sue them, but Frank's already came out and said, Frank already came on an IFL interview, and they put it on there. You know, I've met Danny King. He's been all right, guy. He does boxing. As far as I'm concerned, he's been all right. Of course, everyone that. But you know who you're working with, bro. That's what everyone's trying to say. But my whole thing, Kyle argues that most boxers have criminal records and stuff like that. So I understand that. But in terms of like boxers getting shot, thrown off balconies if they don't do what they say, that's a whole different school story. And the influence is far and reaching. Spencer, our own Spencer Fearon, IFL Kugan Cassius, and a Lilio fighters. That's a lot of influence, man. That's what I'm saying.
Dame. Looks like Daniel had stepped away. He was saying he'd stepped away, but it looks like this documentary on the BBC, which I'll have to catch on the BBC iPlayer after this. This is my question to the chat. Is that show available on the BBC iPlayer? My next question is, will that show be available on the BBC iPlayer immediately after this show? I want to catch it. That's the first thing. And the second thing, where did AJ fight Ruiz? It wasn't in Dubai. It was in Saudi Arabia, was it not?
Yeah, but they're looking at Dubai.
That's where the next fight's going to be, in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. It ain't going to be Dubai.
Yeah, but they're talking about Dubai though.
They might be talking about Dubai, but I mean, you know, you got people on the Joshua side too. They're going to keep it out Dubai. If it's over in that region, my bet will be that it will be in Saudi Arabia. They ain't no fools. They ain't dummies. They ain't no dummies. They know what's this here? What's this here? What's that there? They know, they know what's going down. Boxing's a small community. If the documentary, and I say if the documentary is right in its assertions and in its allegations, and remember, the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio takes no sides in this. I have to remain impartial in this, and the views of the guests are their views, not necessarily shared by the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. But that being said, if it transpires that Daniel Kinahan has not stepped away as he said he had, then I'm sure that the Joshua side, Matchroom and the Zone, they will be fully aware of that, and they will be taking steps to provide a shield away from any form of nefarious and criminal activity or involvement. The Iron Kong.
He talks to Eddie Hearn though. So
Hold on, let me move it around. Iron Kong. Iron Kong is away. Oh, is it?
What do you want me to comment on?
We're talking about Matchroom. We're talking about the Zone being if there is nefarious involvement in this thing. We're talking about Matchroom and the Zone. Most likely, would they most likely be aware of it, and would they take steps to ensure that they provide a ring of steel around their fighter?
Well, they will be wise to, because again, governments will not allow criminal enterprise to take over sport like that. Mm-hmm. We've seen multiple times where they will, after a while, start doing crackdowns and investigation, which will in fact cripple your sport. We've seen this happen before. We've seen organized crime, when they start getting attached to sport, somehow, some way, the government start getting involved. And if any boxing promoter wants to be involved in that, well, they just risk their business. I would hope Eddie Hearn and the Zone would understand that, hey, if Tyson Fury wants to deal with these people, fine. As far as we're concerned, no. You stay away from us and our dealings in terms of that. We could be cool, hi, hello, but that's about it.
Yeah.
He'll be wise to do that, because you will lose your business eventually. I saw Aabs here in the chat say MTK manages like most of the fighters in the UK or something. I agree with that. Like, MTK.
You agree with that? You think
No,
that's the case?
I don't know about most, but I always wonder, like, how is this organization able to manage this much people? Like, why is everybody signing with MTK? Like, even Virgil Ortiz is with MTK. Like, why would Virgil Ortiz do it with MTK Global?
Yeah. Financial incentives. If it is the case, as has been suggested by the BBC documentary, that there's money laundering at play. If that is the case, then if they take a fighter, they can pretty much charge them next to nothing. You keep that money, and I mentioned it before because now they have the prestige. Each fighter of note, each fighter with a name who comes over into their stable builds their stable and builds their business enterprise. So the payment, they don't need money from because they've already got money. They're trying to rinse that money, trying to wash that money. So they don't need any particular sums from the fighter, because just having the fighter enables them allegedly to do what they need to do in terms of, cooking the books, etc. Allegedly. Okay, so we're moving on from the topic, but EJ, just say your last words on the topic and your observations of the documentary as before we move on.
Yeah, I'm saying when you invest into a media company like IFL, you take one of the top boxing analysts like Spencer Fearon, and then you have people like Matthew Macklin to change the narrative. You're already cultivating an environment that no one can talk against them in terms of the media. And that's what the whole point. They're actually controlling the media, the perception. They're controlling the fighters, the branding, the merchandise, right? And controlling boxing to get to the point where we see what boxing becomes a monopoly like the UFC, which we don't really want. And that's people always trying to control boxing. And that's what the biggest fear is. And they're pushing people out like Baron McGugan, who's honest, was a good fighter, a world champion, built his company from scratch, bought fighters from the amateurs, and thus at the top, where he got his fighters to the top of the world scene, they've gone. And that's what I'm talking about. That stuff right there is very worrying. Even like I said, fighters from my gym. So the documentary is there to highlight what exactly is going on. And it's basically the documentary, to me, it could be another series after what happened. But I see it as a starting point for people who didn't know, because Rafi pointed out, he made a video about it. But that BBC documentary for casual people is reaching much farther than we think, and I think it's done to besmirch and try to cripple what's going on. But whether it will or not, that'll be said. But you must watch the documentary to know what's going on, because any sort of like big organization, because people would complain of Al Heyman and this, that, the other, but he come from a record company and had his money, and he's put his money into that, and he did things fair and square. Bob, what's his name? Don King. He came from the numbers racket, a gangster racket, and he got into boxing and done great things for boxing and had fights and stuff like that. But you could hear how much people were complaining about him. Well, Baron's a lawyer, right? He's a lawyer. So when he comes into boxing, he's bringing Muhammad Ali was the one who brought him into boxing. So he's got his perspective. Frank Warren is a former unlicensed boxing promoter. He's another one. Then you got the Hearns over there. But the Kinahans, you see all these people we're mentioning, they ain't stone cold killers. These guys I'm talking about are stone cold killers, and you do not want to cross them. If you cross them, like serious things will happen to you or your family. So that's how the documentary was putting it out there. So that's my last word.
Dame. Okay. So it looks like the things stirred up again. Daniel Kinahan had said he'd stepped away, but this BBC documentary questions that heavily. In fact, they say he ain't stepped away, he's still there. What's going on here? That was a smear campaign by the BBC, to be honest. Well, it's only a smear campaign if it's not true. So you'd have to have information to say it's not true before you could say it's a smear campaign. And obviously, they have lawyers who would have looked over the show to make sure that he didn't break any laws. So I doubt that it was a smear campaign. Yeah, he has no criminal record. That is true. I mentioned that earlier on. If Daniel Kinahan made me an offer, I'm pretty sure I'd accept it. It wasn't true. The BBC, it wasn't true. What wasn't true? That's too much smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire, says OBZ. Okay. Who's this guy here? Dave Trotter. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So we've covered that. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, obviously, I've covered it before. I've done several live shows on the topic. But it's interesting that it's reared up now. Definitely going to have to watch that. Yeah. So, but we move on. What's going on? They're very clear to keep saying allegedly. Yeah, and I'm saying allegedly too. And the investigation is ongoing. Kinahan was named in Irish courts as the head of an international. Yeah. Why did he not sue? Okay, good questions. And I repeat, so first and foremost, you are in tune to Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed. And for sure, hit that share button and all the good buttons. Okay, that was the Kinahan. The Kinahan documentary that was talking about the MTK scandal, MTK global scandal. I'm definitely going to check that out after the show. There's one of the things that I do when I do this show is I have at least one show that I'm going to watch after that. And tonight, I think that will be the show. The dark background music made it look like a death row thing. Carl Frampton doesn't pay management fee. Something not right there. Well, yeah, I mean, that alone rings out alarm bells. How can you have, you see, that alone is that in itself is troubling, because how can you have a manager and not pay your manager? That does lend itself to the prospect, to the thought, to the allegation of laundering. Financial elite mafia. What's this here? Dave Trotter says it was nothing more than an exercise by the British Crown financial elite mafia to get rid of MTK Global. They want to regulate the sport with the Hearns as emperors. Well, if you've got a management team and you don't pay your management team, then that, my friend, smacks of financial irregularity. So yeah, that is troubling. But as fascinating as that is, we still got lots to chop up. There was stuff on the weekend here. There was fights going on the weekend, and there's been things happening, so we have to touch on that as well. Okay, so where's the first thing? Okay, let's run through some things now. Let's talk about the Trevor Bryan situation. Trevor Bryan should have been fighting Manuel Cha, but due to certain irregularities, Manuel Cha, or Mahmoud Cha, as he's referred to his original name, could not step into the ring. He didn't have the work permit to be able to fight. So he couldn't get in the ring. And instead, Bermain Stavern got in the ring and got took out in the 11th round. Took longer than I expected. Trevor Bryan didn't look particularly physically sharp. He hasn't fought for the better part for over 2 years. Iron Kong, your thoughts and observations?
Yeah, man. Fight is subject to change.
Yep.
I think me and you had a brief exchange. I said it was like a solid low level heavyweight fight. It would be one of them fights that, it would probably be an opener of a main event card, a Matchroom. Like it would be just maybe after a Shades of Ali fight.
Yeah.
Right. It would be right there, and then you would have like two other fights after that, and then the main event. But it was what it was. Trevor Bryan is a guy who put on a lot of weight. He both guys look flabby. Bermane has to really think about his health, because from what I understand, he only had a couple of weeks notice.
Terrible.
Because, you know, I really wonder what is he getting from Don King to take this start of bludgeoning. He looks out of shape, even though he, you know, do I say he wasn't outclassed, even though he was stopped? You know, but he didn't get blown out until the 11th round when he got stopped. But clearly, Bermane Stiverne was in no type of shape for the fight. He hasn't been in shape for no fight since Wilder beat him, maybe.
yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in shape since Wilder beat him the first time.
Mm.
And I'm really concerned at 43 years old, you keep coming into the ring looking like that and taking those sorts of bludgeonings. I'm wondering if this man is taking care of an entire village back in Haiti, why he's doing this to himself.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder. But Jack Johnson fought for 30 years, you know what I'm saying? So there's a habit, there's a pattern in a lot of these guys, you know. I can get a payday. 2 weeks, no problem. Put me in there. Ain't good for the health. EJ Boxing.
Yeah. All right. So my take on this thing here is that Don King is on the wing, innit? He's not the same guy. Well, even though he's the same age as Bob Arum, he's not the same guy. And the reason why probably he's been stunted, his growth's been stunted, is when he got in bed with George Bush. Was it George? Yeah, George Bush Jr. When he got in bed with him, and most of the boxers, especially Bob Arum, they're Democrats, yeah. And they're Democrats, and he's a Republican.
Yeah.
And since then, his empire has been crushed. So I don't know what Bob Arum is, because remember he's a legal guy, and some of these legal guys done. They've basically he can't get no fighters. So the thing about Don King, he controls a lot of sanctioning bodies. He had a lifetime association with WBC, so he always get his WC fighters ranked. If you look at Don King, a lot of his fighters are WC ranked. They didn't really do nothing with the IBF too much, but the WBA, they're you can see by their sanctioning body, you can see they're struggling for money. They've got the gold belt, the interim belt, the emeritus belt, this belt, that belt. By them doing that, you can see they're struggling for money, not making no money of their thing. So, but when they're with Don King can easily give them a sum of money, and all of a sudden his fights get ranked. Like Stiverne's lost his last couple. How can he get a rank? And then this guy Trevor Bryan, all of a sudden they're fighting for the belt, and they removed. You see what I'm trying to say? This is where money comes into it, right? They removed Manuel Chart out of there, right? Because Don King already advertised that you're going to fight. Apparently, Manuel Chart was supposed to come to America, and I think they stunted his plane. That's what's been reported. I don't know if that's fact.
I think he got there, but he didn't have the proper work permit. He didn't have a work permit, so he couldn't fight.
But you see, this is the thing, right? In this corona thing, there's a lot of things people can do at the airports and all these things to stop. I'm not saying Don King did that. I'm not going to say that. But what I'm saying is that he made sure that two of his guys got on it and they fought for the belt. Now, that guy's it's potentially a fight with AJ. People will laugh your head off. I mean, if Fury beats AJ, I mean, you can see Fury fighting this guy, and you see he can be laughed off the building. This guy, by all means, should no way be a champion. But it just shows you the WBA, for all their history in boxing, it's like the lowest version of the belt before, bro. Like, it's real low. It is very, very low in that situation. That fight wasn't that good. Both of them were physically out of shape. Stiverne, he ain't got it no more. His punch resistance gone. And that Trevor Bryan was just a bit younger. But boy, there's no way that guy they should have no claim to no version of no heavyweight title. But like I said to you, Don King pulled some string, and that's what it is. And his influence is still felt out there in boxing, even though he wasn't at the event. And also people paid for that event, and he put fights with Chavez versus I can't remember the guy's name, and he put De La Hoya versus Trinidad, and people paying $19.99. It's lucky I streamed it and watched it. And I'm thinking to myself, Don, why would you? It's like you can see he's struggling. I don't think Don's struggling financially. I just feel like in terms of boxing, he's been stunned. He's been blocked out because it seems like no one is signing with him. He had a big TV network, his own TV network, a big logo, and all of a sudden it's just been stunted like nothing. And I reckon really and truly is when he got in bed with the politics, and he also backs Donald Trump. And I think certain people who are Democrat states, they just allowed him. You know, they haven't really come out and said anything, but you can see really he's really struggling to make any ends meet in terms of any of his shows. So that shouldn't be no heavyweight title match. It looks like a complete joke. And end of the day, but we move on in it. It wasn't good for. I watched it. It was a good knockout though, but I just don't feel the guy is worthy of a heavyweight title and should be fighting AJ in no time soon. That's what I feel. It
was a good knockout. But both men were clearly not in the best of shape. And yeah. But Don King got his way. It was a good knockout. Don King got his way, and he got Trevor Bryan to the regular WBA champion. So successful mission on there. As far as why Don King has fallen off, I think he fell off when he lost all his champions. He fell off. Don King, for me, fell off when he lost all his champions. Remember, Don King was a guy who was known to enter the ring with the champion. And if his guy lost, he'd leave the ring with the new champion and give them a deal. But as soon as he lost his champions, then obviously and predictably, the other promoters made sure that he didn't get his mitts. He couldn't get his mitts in the pie no more. And I think that was kind of predictable. Did he have anything to do with his political allegiances? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure: once he lost his champions, it was always on the cards that he was going to be X'd out. And it doesn't help the multiple stories of him. I don't want to say ripping off fighters, but ripping off fighters. Multiple stories of that didn't help his cause either. So he was always going to be on the cards that when he lost his champ, he would be out the door. But it looks like he's got a toe in the dough. And I asked the question, Iron Kong. I asked the question before. I said, is Don King crazy or is this genius? Genius or crazy? I asked the question before.
Well,
yeah.
Don King almost got Trevor Bryan to fight Anthony Joshua in New York. And you heard it already said that they were actually in some conversation with Don King to get Trevor Bryan to fight in New York.
Yeah.
And not fight before they picked Ruiz, right?
Yeah.
But they picked Ruiz because I guess he heard about Ruiz, he didn't hear about Bryan. Because Bryan is also from New York.
Yeah.
So they were going to pick him. And that would have been like, I'm guessing the WBA might have ordered that as some sort of mandatory at that time.
Yeah.
To clear up all of that, which would have made, I guess, some sense. But I think EJ said it right. Like, bro, if Anthony Joshua wins undisputed, right, the next belt in the cycle to be called for mandatory would be what? Would it be the WBC? Well, the WBO, obviously.
Yeah.
If they don't drop the WBO, right? But he fights Usyk next. What would be the next belt to be called if he wins undisputed, beats Fury twice or once, and Fury retires or whatever? Would it be would it be the winner of Povetkin and White mandatory after Usyk?
After Usyk, what? So who would it be? The IBF had their go with
right
with what's his name? Kubrat Pulev. The WBO's next, so it would be the
WBC.
The WBC.
Right.
The WBC. Yeah.
Because Povetkin was a WBA in 2018. But what I'm saying is Don King also, Don King is pretty intelligent because he got Bermain Stavern in that fight with Deontay Wilder, the second fight when Bermain was absolutely highlight reeled.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm saying is Don King is a very intelligent man. He's devious, but he's putting his fighters in bad positions because Trevor Bryan ain't fighting no competition. Me and you went through Trevor Bryan's record. I mean, this man is fighting people who are 2-24 and this sort of craziness. Could you imagine Trevor Bryan standing in front of Anthony Joshua? What would happen to this man?
Yeah, get blown out and become nice and rich.
It's a payday for Don King also.
Yeah, so a big payday for Don King, because you have to imagine that Don King has been given what's his name, Brian, a stipend, one would imagine, for the last 2 years, and you know that Don King is gonna collect when Brian gets his shot, and it looks like Don King's gonna protect him until he gets his shot against whoever's the unified champion. It looks like that is going to be the case. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to get through here, so we're gonna go through kind of like a series of speed rounds. We dropped that out. So what else is on my screen? What else is on my screen? Okay, I see Manny Pacquiao peeping through. EJ Boxing, the WBA have stripped Manny Pacquiao of his title and put him to one side as champion emeritus and installed Yordanis Ugas as the WBA champion. What are your thoughts and observations on that?
Like I said to you, bro, it's a money thing, bro. Who's Ugas with? Who's his promoter?
PBC.
Exactly. PBC. Manny Pacquiao. They remember this again, yeah. Let's look at this, right? The WBA, they're struggling. I don't know. Where's that music coming from? I don't know.
Sorry, my bad. That was my kid. I had to chase him away. My bad.
Okay, yeah. All right. So I can't 100% say for her certain they're struggling, but I'm assuming they're struggling by them diluting their championship belt, right? So they must have contacted Manny Pacquiao and said, "Are you looking to fight Ryan Garcia?" Because De La Hoya probably asked that, and they said, "No, we don't want to fight Ryan Garcia. We know we're looking for Conor McGregor, but the Conor McGregor ain't got nothing to do with my belt or anything." They said, "Well, what are you doing?" They go, "We don't know." Then they contact the PBC Al Heyman, said, "Boy, what are you doing? Are you looking to fight?" They go, "Yeah, we want to fight. Yeah, of course, we'll fight whoever you want to fight." So they're thinking, "Well, boy, we're not." So it makes sense then stripping Manny Pacquiao, right? Because I ain't doing nothing with their belt, and they need to make money, right? And he don't want to fight the mandatory, the next guy in line, which whoever that is, maybe they were gonna put Ryan Garcia in there. So I said, "Yo, we roll with Ugas and start getting paid because this is the reason why we got these belts now. So what we do, we move you up, and then you continue making us money." Because when they had Keith Thurman was making it, even though Keith Thurman was out a year with the PBC, Al Heyman was paying that, right? Or Keith Thurman. So I can't, I have to be honest and say I don't 100% know who was paying him, but the WBA was getting paid while Keith Thurman was sitting out. Now with Manny Pacquiao, they probably approached that. Manny said, "We're not going to give you no money." I said, "All right then, I'll go back with Al Heyman, and I'll go with his fighter, and I'm going to get paid, and we're going to keep rolling." And that's what I think it is. And that's why they move Ugas up. So I'm glad they move him up. Get Manny Pacquiao out. If you don't want to fight Manny Pacquiao, just sit down on the chair and go rest up. You've been a great champion, but that WBA needs to make money, and you can see with Trevor Bryan, they're trying to get things cracking. You know what I mean? And I don't blame them.
Well, the WBA, like you said, they want to make money. Pacquiao sitting on the sidelines ain't making no money for them, so they put him to one side as the champion emeritus. So when he decides to come back and fight a suitable opponent, well, he'll have to fight the champion, won't he? When he comes back, he'll have to fight either Ugas or the guy it looks like Ugas is going to be fighting, who is Errol Spence Jr. So yeah, they're gonna get it cracking. They're gonna get it cracking. They want to make some money, and yeah. PBC connection, WBA, Iron Kong. Your thoughts and observations?
I can see it two ways. I mean, my thing is I don't like people holding up divisions. I don't like people just holding belts.
Yeah,
I remember Keith Thurman was out for a long time, which was odd they didn't strip him like that. Keith was out for a long time.
2 years.
You know what I'm saying? And he had that belt chilling with that belt. Right? So you see, at times these sanctioning bodies have very selective choices in terms of who they strip, when they strip them, or whatever. Like so like Leo Santa Cruz has a 126 belt that Eddie Hearn and them was hoping Kanzu would be elevated to. So it seems like the PBC has a hold, a lock on the WBA in a way, because the PBC is collecting all these regular belts for WBA. Like they have all the WBA regular belts from light heavyweight on down, right?
Yeah.
So Leo Santa Cruz has a 126 belt, which he has not defended in how long, but they didn't strip him of that, right? But you strip Manny Pacquiao, which is a bigger star than Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
I would think it would be easier to strip Leo Santa Cruz because he's not making money, whether he fights or not.
Yeah.
But Manny Pacquiao, when Manny Pacquiao does decide to fight, he gonna make big money. And it's not like he was elevated. He beat Keith Thurman for that belt.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, but then also
he's been out for a while though. He's been out for a while.
He's been out for a while. So I can see it both ways because I don't like people holding up division. Like when Canelo was up and down in weight, I was saying very early, he's not coming back to the 160 division. He needs to give up the 160 belt. But Canelo held on to that belt when he fought 175, when he fought 168, and all of this. He was not defending that 160 belt. And they didn't strip him for a while. Until matter of fact, they didn't strip him. He gave up the belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So Canelo could have still been holding on to it. So to me, it's very selective. To me, I think Al Heyman and them, as things said, hey, yo, we want that belt up off you. We're going to make him champion in recess. So if he does decide to come back, he gets the first crack at whoever has that belt.
Yes.
But until you figure out what you want to do, let's move on with our people. Let's give it to Ugas.
Yeah.
I had said earlier on a stream of mine that they camped out Ugas there with that regular belt for a reason. Because when they get Manny Pacquiao stripped, Ugas will be elevated, and then that's a suspense fight.
Yes.
And here you go.
Boom, boom, boom. We're cracking through these. We're whipping through these. Okay, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button if you're enjoying the content. Okay, as we move swiftly on. Where are we going to next? Let me go. Oh, OMG. How could I forget? We got to talk about the Caleb Plant versus the Battle of the Calebs. We got to talk about the Battle of the Calebs. I must confess, I didn't stay up to watch that fight. No way, no how. But when I did watch the fight the next morning, and I caught it on the replay, I must confess I was underwhelmed. Caleb Plant, can't say he struggled with the Truex. I didn't struggle with Truex, but it didn't look at any point as if he would be putting him away. And Caleb came back later on in the fight to land some shots of his own, but yeah, it was very much of a muchness. I was not enthused, and neither was I impressed with Caleb Plant's showing this time around. I don't know. Where does he go from here? He's talking about Pacquiao. But I don't see Pacquiao having much trouble. Pacquiao. Talking about, what do you call him? Canelo. But I don't see him posing much problems for Canelo. EJ Boxing, what were your thoughts and observations? I know you covered this one live.
I thought it was a decent performance.
Okay.
He got the ring rust off. Caleb Plant is a game guy. You saw what he did to James DeGale in England.
Yeah.
It didn't help in the promotions that they both got the same first name.
Yeah.
Caleb Plant, Caleb Truex. But what I'm saying
sound like two Mormons. Nothing against Mormons.
Yeah, it's exactly two Mormons, two brothers, whatever. It didn't help in the promotion, but when it comes to the style of Caleb Plant, it's usually indicative in the opponent. So Caleb Truex was doing what he did, coming forward. He was taking some licks in his nose. The only thing is you're looking for it's probably Caleb Plant to try and stop, and he tried to, and he broke his hand. And that's easy, and that happens in boxing when you're not fighting regularly. Your hands become, should I say, normalized, where you're not hitting people regularly. So when he tried to do that, he was trying to put power shots at the start, and he realized he wasn't getting them up, and he just went back to his box, and then it hurt his hand. But the same people said they wasn't impressed. I thought Caleb Plant is a decent campaigner. He's not. You see the thing about Caleb Plant and Truax, right? When I watched him when he beat the shit out of James DeGale, to me, he's nothing special, you know what I mean? Like, he's just a hard-working guy who comes forward. But people are really putting it on. When that fight was going on, you're looking at it, it's like, how is he going to fare against Canelo? I think, boy, it's a good fight. I think I put my money on Caleb Plant to beat him. People are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yo, Caleb, I know that thingy. Canelo has trouble with movers, and he's a big strong at 168. I like the style matchup. I think Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant should match up, and the winner should fight Canelo. That's what I think. But that unlikely, they're not going to happen. Caleb Plant is happy to stay in Memphis, Tennessee, or Nashville, Tennessee, wherever he's from. Just walk around the streets, showing his belt to people, giving his card out, and saying, "I'm the champ." Sitting around with his girlfriend, making babies, and listening to Donald Trump, because that's who he supports. And furthermore,
Trump guy. Is it Trump guy? I didn't know he was a Trump guy.
He said there, right? If you want to fight me, you need to come over to Fox. That Fox is where it's at. I'm on Fox. This is where you need to come, yeah. And now I know, say he's a little Southern guy. Most of the people from where he come in Nashville, they support Donald Trump. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to say Caleb Plant was dressed up and stormed the Capitol. I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't be surprised. But what I'm saying is this, yeah, right? When that fight goes down, I won't be surprised if he beat Canelo, because Canelo and his hip hopping, jumping up the weight classes, and everyone's looking at, they got Callum Smith on short notice. I think Caleb Plant should fight Callum Smith, by the way. And if you do a better job than Canelo, you kind of push that fight. But what I'm saying is that I enjoyed the performance. I watched it live. It was entertaining. I knew who was going to win. It was just how he was going to win. And he won or whatever. But if he's trying to be great and trying to push the bunch, he's going to have to try and push for that fight. But everyone wants to fight Canelo. But if I'm Canelo, I'm not trying to fight Caleb Plant, because Caleb Plant is very awkward and he moves, and he's going to make it very hard for me to fight. So I wouldn't just write that one off. But in general, you're a champion. You defended your belt. You won unanimously on the scorecards. What more do you need to ask for? You know what I mean? What you need to do breakdancing. You need to start singing like Tyson Fury. He's a boxer. I think people expect all these thrills and people getting their ears biting a bit too much. Boxing is what it is. It's just a man to hit and not get hit. And Caleb Plant showed that. And congrats to him.
Caleb Plant showed that, but I was not enthused and I was not entertained. Iron Kong.
It was meh. It reminded me of Billy Joe Saunders and Martin Murray. You know what I'm saying? Tough challenger, you come forward guy, solid sort of meat and potatoes guy. Come forward and, you have this guy who likes to flit around the ring and flick his jab out and move. No real danger of, no big stoppage or nothing. But, Caleb Plant is somebody who thinks very highly of himself for some reason. He thinks very highly of himself. This is a guy who said he's the big dog at 168. I'm like, what is this man talking about? He don't chase nobody. This man turned down a Canelo fight twice. Very strange guy. Thinks very highly of himself. So I'm not until he actually steps in the ring with Canelo. I don't know if this fight gonna happen with him and Canelo, because after Canelo fights Billy Joe Saunders, I think he beats Billy Joe, because Billy Joe Saunders is not a super middleweight. He is not a super middleweight. He's a fat middleweight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think he's going to use Billy Joe Saunders as a test run. If he beats Billy Joe, I already know there's going to be some BS between Canelo and PBC, because PBC is going to want to have Canelo come over there. And Canelo's going to be like, no, you come where I want you to come.
Yeah.
All right? And I already know there's going to be some BS. So I don't know if Caleb Plant goes over there. The fight was what it was, I guess. Caleb Plant does what he does. Truax came forward, and Plant just kind of danced around. He took some shots, though. Plant took some shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He did.
And but that's boxing anyway. But I'm saying if Truax can catch you with that, so can Canelo. And Canelo's a better fighter than Caleb Truax. That's a a given. But that's my opinion. It was It was like a 6 out of 10 fight.
Yeah. It was one of those. I was not enthused. And in comes, can I play with madness? It is, well, I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Fight Doctor's in the house on Rick James status, as always.
The Fight Doctor.
I don't understand the whole argument that you were not entertained. Did the man not win every round?
I was not entertained. A man winning every round. What's another good example of a fight where a man won every round and I was not entertained?
Devin Haney, Gambo.
Okay, there we go. Boom, boom, boom.
So let me ask this question.
Yeah.
From the fighter's perspective, which scenario better suits his needs? That he should go out and win every round and not necessarily be entertaining in the process of winning every round, or go out, win some rounds, fight in an entertaining style, and then get knocked out? What is better for the fighter's needs?
I'm not arguing that he should have lost some rounds. I'm not arguing that a fighter should not aim to win every round. Of course, that's great if you aim to win every round and you win every round. Then that's great, but it doesn't automatically equate to entertaining. It doesn't automatically equate to a person being enthused. That's my response. Just because you win every round, it don't mean it was an entertaining fight. Well, I think what the real question you're asking me is, what did I expect Caleb Plant to do? Well, what I would have liked to have seen, I would like to have seen him throw his jabs and what have you, and then turn the corner and boom, put some heavy artillery on the shiny dome of Truax. I would have liked to have seen him turn the corner. I would have liked to have seen him use misdirection. I would have liked to have seen him throw some pump jabs, some fake jabs, and blast him out of there. But what I saw was your meat and potatoes, your meat and potatoes type of fight. Now, is it not the case that sometimes you do have a meat and potatoes type of fight? Yes, it is the case that sometimes a guy will have a meat and potatoes type of fight. But if it's a meat and potatoes type of fight, if it looks like a meat and potatoes type of fight, to me, I'm going to say it was a meat and potatoes type of fight. And I'm not going to say I was enthused when I was not enthused. As a matter of fact, I was bored with it. Back to you.
Okay, so the guy fights in a style that you don't find entertaining. I mean, so some people like boxers, some people like punchers. Maybe you're just one of those guys who, are not particularly fond of boxers. You like punchers.
Well, no, that's not strictly true, because let's do it this way. My favorite fighter is Muhammad Ali, and my second favorite fighter is Marvin Hagler. So, boom, there you have two different styles right there.
Okay, you have two different styles, but in Muhammad Ali and Marvin Hagler, you have legitimate all-time greats. I mean, they're top 10. Yeah. And this guy, Caleb Plant, is not in that category. So, I mean, listen, I think you're being a bit.
Hold on, he's not in that category, but it don't mean that you can't have us. Listen, at the end of the day, it's fighting. Yes, if somebody says to me, yeah, this is about fighting. This is about fighting. I'll say, yeah, I understand. But if you want to be box office, my friend, you better have some sizzle on that steak. I didn't see no sizzle on that. You better have some herbs. You better season that steak in such a way that it is a tasty morsel for the eye to behold and the taste buds. And listen, everybody, I think your argument is everybody can't put that sizzle on the steak. Everybody can't put that sizzle on the steak, and that's fair enough. But what I'm saying to you, my friend, is that if you can't put that sizzle on the steak, if you can't turn that corner, if you can't use misdirection then you know you're just going to reflect on your paycheck, my friend. It's going to reflect on your paycheck.
Okay, listen. My argument.
You like American football or baseball or whatever? I'll use soccer. When I used to watch soccer, there's certain guys who would step over the ball, change direction, turn and twist. Thierry Henry, turn, twist, and then lob that ball into the box. Lob that ball into the box. But before he lobbed it into that box, he would use misdirection. He would use twists and turns and feints. And that was reflected in his paycheck. If you want to get them big paychecks, you better have some skills. You better have some entertaining skills. It's not just about your meat and potatoes.
Well, listen, I understand all of that, okay? But again, everybody can't be Muhammad Ali. All right, everyone can't fight in that flashy, entertaining style. All right, and then on top of that, it's not as if Truex was some type of tomato can. Truex is a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a legitimate guy, 168 pounds. And if you're snoozing, then you'll get, George, what's his name? DeGale. Okay, yeah. You'll get the DeGale treatment where he lost a decision in his own backyard. So, I don't get this criticism that the guy isn't, the most entertaining fighter in the world. Okay, he's not. I agree. Floyd Mayweather wasn't the most entertaining fighter in the world. Okay. Hold
on. Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you're talking about Money Mayweather or Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy Floyd was one hell of an entertainer.
Pretty Boy Floyd was one hell of an entertainer when his hands held up, which unfortunately was not always the case. Okay, because I distinctly remember Floyd at 130, 135 had lots of hand problems and stunk out the joint plenty of times when his hands didn't held up. Now, when his hands held up and he was able to put some sizzle on his shots, then yeah, Floyd was an entertaining fighter, okay? But at the end of the day, we're not talking about Floyd Mayweather. We're talking about Caleb Plant, who isn't the most entertaining fighter in the world, but at the same time, he won every round against a legitimate top 10 168 pounder. So I guess
my standards are really, really high. And that's why there's a lot of fighters that I don't find scintillating. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a fair criticism. If you want to say that Rafi's standards are really, really high, then that is correct. But just finish up and we move on. The Fight Doctor. We've got a couple more topics to touch on.
Yeah, well, I think you're just being a bit unfair. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
The guy won every round. It seems to me at some point, Truex's corner should have said, like, look, dude, you haven't won a round in this fight. At some point, you're going to have to turn up the temperature if you want to win. Now, if I'm Caleb Plant, and if what I'm doing is winning, why change? Why do something different? I'm outboxing the guy easy. And it seems to me that the guy needs to come to me to win the fight, to take my title. And if he's not doing that, then I'm going to sit back, keep doing what I'm doing. Look, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
If it ain't broke, why fix it? And that limits a man's paycheck. Ross Clark is up in the building. How you doing, Ross?
But do you know what else limits a man's paycheck?
Yeah, Ross Clark, come on in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. See, the problem is, and I agree 100% with Raphael Dawkins. Caleb Plant, although he's skilled, he got some skills, whatever the case may be. We're talking about prize fighting. If we're talking about trying to sell, if we're talking about becoming this big megastar, a style like that is not going to work. I'm sorry, but it's not going to work. The dude is boring to watch, and it's just 100% fact. No matter if you like the boxer, if you like the boxer puncher, if you like the brawler, no matter what style of boxing it is, you can't tell me that just because he won every round, that's entertaining. I'm sorry, but the fight was boring, period.
The fight was boring. I was bored. EJ Boxing, come on back.
Yeah, I like, bro. The thing is, yeah, maybe let's talk about the guy, right? So he's trying to fight a Canelo fight, and he doesn't really put himself into big. But nor does Billy Joe Saunders, because when he fought Murray, you know, he was trying to stop Murray. I think Murray retired on his thing. Nor is he. But these guys, because they're being thrust to fight Canelo, they're saying, well, what does he deserve? But man, he's a champion and he's got a belt. I mean, look at Callum Smith, yeah? He beat George Groves with one arm. But yet we're gonna put it all on Callum. I'm not gonna go at Callum. He's done everything asked of him, and when he won his world title, no one could tell that was boring. So yeah, you have one boring fight, but that's not indicative of the man's whole career. And the way he shut that guy out, who beat James DeGale, and I know James DeGale was considered the one of the best in the division. I'm gonna give Caleb Truax, that is. That's impressive, bro. Now he shut him out completely, bro. So I like you. A lot of Americans, their standards, and I'm sure the guy talking, I don't know his name. He has a high standard of what he expects, and he's right entitled to berate the performance, understandably. But let's put it in context, yeah. That in the game, in book, what's his name? Ross Clark, yeah. I'm my man Ross Clark. What's going on, Ross Clark, bro?
What's up, EJ?
It's good. Now Ross Clark's entitled because Americans have a higher standard than us over the UK. They just have. They're used to their champions.
I got high standards. I want to be.
No. Listen. Hear what I'm trying to say to you. Damn, America. I'll tell you. Okay, let me put it like this. America. If you don't get a gold medal in America and you get a silver and a bronze, they don't want to know you. In England, you get a silver and bronze. Oh, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Their standards of
Deontay Wilder, bronze. The bronze.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, I know, but they don't. America don't care about him. So what I'm trying to say, in England, if you get a bronze and silver, like Richie Woodall, bro, like you done very well, because that's England's standard is not as high as them. So what I'm trying to say to you, Ross Clark, from where he's coming from and where he understands about boxing, he has entitled to do him. But let me tell you this, they didn't like Corey Spinks, yeah. Corey Spinks was like that until you fight Mayorga. So what I'm saying is that you need the bull and the matador. He's the matador, and he needs a bull to make him good. And Caleb Truax was a bull, but it's just that he didn't stop him, and he broke his hand, and he was complaining.
The fight was like watching a plant grow.
He only fights like. He only fights the fight. He's mandatory. When he won the belt, right? There's nothing what people understand here. When you win your belt, you only have to fight one time a year to defend it. So any other fight you take on, you can either put your belt on the line or have voluntaries. You can do that. That's what used to happen before, right? So Caleb Plant is I got my wife. His mom died the other day. You know what I mean? He's dealing with the corona. And bruv, I'm like, bruv, in the circumstance he's dealing with, I think he done very well. Getting the ring rust off, going 12 rounds, winning every round. And now he's looked forward to a big payday with one of their champions. I'm like, when he fights one of them, I'm gonna back Caleb Plant. I'm telling you right now, Caleb Plant beats Canelo, and if he goes against Billy Joe, I'm saying you right now, I'll put money down on Caleb Plant to beat Canelo.
You're having a laugh. Hold on, Ross. I'll come to you. Iron Kong.
Yeah, Rafi, what are you saying?
If you got anything to add, I was underwhelmed.
Well,
EJ liked it. The fight doctor liked it. I didn't like it. Ross Clark didn't like it. I was underwhelmed.
As I said, it was a pretty average fight. It was a 6 out of 10 fight. I'm not going to completely dump on Caleb Plant. That's just how he fights, right? And I could appreciate some of that, but that's not going to be a fight, or that's not going to be a style that's going to sell no pay-per-views, which I guess
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
That's not going to sell pay-per-views, right?
That's what I'm talking about. If you want to sell pay-per-views, you gotta come with some shizzle on the steak.
So what I'm saying is Caleb Plant fights how he fights. He's very good at how he fights. But I'm wondering, is it that people are rougher on him because of who he's projected to fight soon, which is Canelo? Like, people are hard on him, like, because I see people saying that style won't be Canelo. Is it that people are not judging him based on who he is or who he's projected to fight?
Possibly. That's a possibility. The fight doctor.
Okay.
The fight doctor.
So at the end of the day, so we talk about how entertaining a fighter is, and I agree that there is something to be said of entertainment value, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
in every sport.
True.
Every sport.
But now the question has to be asked: what is going to affect a fighter's, for the average typical fighter? All right, for the typical fighter, what is going to affect his bottom line more? His entertainment value or the fact that he wins fights or the fact that he wins fights? Because I submit
entertainment value. I say entertainment value is a large factor. Winning fights is important because that shows up on your fight stats. That is very important. And post Mayweather, one could argue it has become crucially important. But
let me ask this question.
For me, it's about entertainment. It's about entertainment.
Well, let me ask this question. Hypothetically, let's just say that Caleb Plant last Saturday had gone out and fought a highly entertaining fight and lost.
Yeah,
right?
It'd be a problem.
Now, do you think he would be in line for a Canelo fight?
No.
Okay,
no.
so let me pose a question again.
I'll come back to you. But this is the point. The highest point of the art is when you win and you got some sizzle on it. That's the highest point of the art. So if you win, okay, you fulfill one criteria, but there's a bunch of criteria. One, you fulfill one. When you win, you fulfill one criteria, but there is another important criteria. One could argue a lesser criteria. Yes, a lesser criteria, but nonetheless a very important criteria. Are you providing entertainment?
Okay, so the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit.
Yeah.
Now that's criteria, right?
No, that's one criteria.
That is the art of boxing.
The art of boxing. Okay, but another criteria. My argument is another criteria is to bring the entertainment. What's his name? Sugar Ray Robinson. Carry on.
All right. So the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit. Now, if you can do that and look good while doing it, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
That's box office.
Right. That's box office. And there have only really been a few fighters in history who could do that.
Okay.
Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. And oddly enough, Roy Jones Jr., even though he excelled at being able to box and make it look easy and do it with a high entertainment value, Jones was never really a draw. He was never really a huge draw, right? I mean, if you look at like the top 10 pay-per-views in history in the United States, I don't think Jones has taken part of any of them, the top 10.
No.
All right. So being entertaining doesn't always translate to box office. Now, probably 9 times out of 10 it does. I agree. But again, in terms of what's good for a fighter's bottom line, I think ultimately it's getting the W as opposed to getting the W and looking good while doing it. Or I'm sorry, I think getting the W translates better for a fighter's bottom line as opposed to looking good but losing in the process.
Repeat your statement.
So again, had Plant gone out and fought a very entertaining fight Saturday night but lost, he wouldn't be in the queue for a potential Alvarez fight.
I'm aware of that. I'm not contradicting that. But I'm also saying that there is another element. There's another element which is bringing that shizzle. Okay, so we move on. We're going over to Ross.
Can I say one thing real quick? Yeah. Okay.
Ross Clark, going over to Ross Clark. Ross Clark, over to you.
Okay, so 2 things. One thing is, yes, he got a shutout with Truax. Truax is a guy who beat James DeGale, probably the best win on his resume. But this wasn't the James DeGale that beat Andre Durrell. This was the James DeGale that's been through wars with Badu Jack, that's been through that hellish war with Medina, where the Medina fight took everything out of him. He fought twice a downhill version of DeGale, because had it been DeGale that fought Durrell, he would have shut out Truax.
Yeah.
While entertaining the fans. Number two, if Roy Jones Jr., like you said, Fight Doctor, wasn't this person to draw and get all the pay-per-views, even though Roy Jones Jr. is one of the best fighters to ever live, then you could forget about Caleb Plant being that. It ain't gonna never happen. And number three, I really hope they make this fight, because only 10% out of 100 is gonna pick Caleb Plant to beat Canelo. And this is a fact. He cannot beat Canelo, and I hope that it happens, because he's gonna beat the crap out of Caleb Plant. That's all I have to say.
OMG.
I actually disagree with that. I think Plant has the tools to make it an interesting fight against Alvarez.
Well, you do.
Alvarez,
who's going to win if they fight? Who do you pick to win?
So I think that Alvarez has to be the favorite, but I would not dismiss an upset.
Nah, pick one, man. I got Truex. I tell you what, yeah. You guys talk about pay-per-view and all that. I got Truex. Let's see no, not Truex. I got Plant. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, right? End of the day, people were talking about, Rafi was talking about he ain't entertaining. But what I'm trying to say is you don't need to, because see the Mexican fan base, yeah, and he's got the whole of Mexico. They come to see him, so they don't care who he fight. Like, so who's better, Yildiz or Caleb Plant? Who's more entertaining? And I tell you, Yildiz, who got knocked out by Eubank Jr., I'm rolling with Caleb Plant, bruh. Caleb Plant's better than Yildiz, so, and he has a belt. So my whole thing is this: you're saying he's this, that, the other, but he's still the IBF champion. And I'm saying to you, that's what makes him who he is. And to be honest with you, if you're going to judge him on that one fight,
I'm not judging him.
But he's watch him when he won the world title.
Yeah,
when he won the world title of a guy who beat up Jarrell. So I'm good. I'm rolling with him. Like listen, he's had a layoff. His mom's died and all that. I'm making excuses for him, but what I'm saying to you is that end of the day, we ain't seen the best of Caleb Plant. But I'm telling you, if someone's gonna do it, I got Caleb Plant, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm rolling with him beating Canelo, because Canelo's been getting away with all this catch weight, all these little things, stipulations. He ain't, and this is why I say he's gonna lose, right? He ain't with Oscar De La Hoya no more. And Eddie Hearn is not got that American pool. So if it goes to the scorecards and it's fair with Al Heyman on board, bro, he's losing. And I'm telling you that right now. You guys are basing it when De La Hoya was with him. He ain't with De La Hoya no more. I understand that.
Okay, EJ, I have one thing to say about that, right? So when Canelo fought Lara, right, Canelo was fairly still learning, basically. Like, he wasn't the Canelo he is today. And at that time fighting that version of Canelo, Lara is a better boxer than Plant then. Now, Lara is a better boxer. Plant literally is good. Listen, you're not going to beat Canelo running and sticking and moving and with pity pat punches. I don't care.
Wait. That's exactly what Mayweather did. What are you talking about?
With pity pat punches.
Yeah, but that's exactly what.
I had Lara winning. I had Lara losing that fight though. So I didn't think Lara won that fight. I didn't like it because he was talking shit. He was talking shit about it. Okay, you agree. So he was talking shit about the fight. But what I'm saying is that I'm saying to you that Plant is a very good solid at 168. And I'm saying to you, the scenarios what you're bringing up, they ain't there no more. The Oscar De La Hoya and doing his little dodgy work is not there no more. Yeah, he's with Eddie Hearn. But what I'm saying that he's with PBC. And when Lara fought Canelo, who was he with? Who was his promoter? Because he rolled up to Canelo and they made that fight, but he had no big, powerful promoter. It was a payday, but you need to have, as you realize, you need the backing of one of these top promoters. So I'm rolling with Caleb Plant, beating Canelo, upsetting him. And I'm saying it out early to make sure people know. And I put my money down. The moment that fight's down, I'm putting on Caleb Plant.
Okay,
EJ, who do you think is going to win out of Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo?
Billy Joe Saunders is going to win.
Okay, that's a great pick. Okay, now let me ask you this. You honestly believe that Caleb Plant is on the exact same level as Billy Joe Saunders?
What I'm telling you is that styles, right? Canelo has problems with guys who move and can hit. And the thing is, Billy Joe Saunders, for all you're saying about his movement and the way Canelo is, Canelo ain't fought guys that since Mayweather who could move like that, bro, and they could move and hit. And I'm saying that he don't like fighting guys like that. And you know the funny thing about it, like go ahead.
But what I was going to say, the difference between those two is Billy Joe Saunders is actually going to fight. He's actually going to fight. He ain't going to fight more than Mayweather.
Yeah, but he's solid. You see, the thing is, Mayweather, right? Mayweather come from super feather, and he went all the way up to 154. Canelo came down from middle, and there was a catchweight at fame, right? But Canelo's really like a mid because he's short. He don't made weight. Now we're talking about Billy Joe Saunders. The majority of his career, even when the Olympics, middle or light middle. You know what I'm trying to say? So they're around that weight. They're comfortable at them sort of weights. So I'm saying to you, a guy like that who can move, it's bruv, they're not funny to fight against, bro. Because when they hit you, for you to hit them, and they're not going to be around. So what I'm saying is that it's only because Billy Joe Saunders. It's only because Billy Joe Saunders. So when I pick it, it's not just picking on I like them. No, I'm picking on the style that I feel that Canelo doesn't like fighting against. And these are. And look at this, right? How come them fights ain't been made now? Because Canelo, look at the opponents, all of them flat-footed. Even Smith, he stands right in front of him. All of them, they're right in front of him, and that's what Canelo likes. So now you're going against guys who're not going to be in front of you, who are going to move and make you test your legs. And if you look at Canelo, he wears knee braces on his leg. When he fights one of the two, yeah, Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Plant, one of the biggest upsets in boxing. I'm showing you, bro, from now, because that's what he doesn't like. And he ain't fought no guys like that Mayweather style that he likes. Who's he been in there with like that? Who moves like that?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
So yeah, I'm calling it right. I'm calling it right now. I don't think the Plant fight gets made. I don't think Alvarez is going to go anywhere near Caleb Plant. Not because I think that Plant would beat him, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but only because Caleb Plant has a style to make Canelo look very bad. All right. Listen, the kryptonite for the Mexican style is the slick boxer, and Caleb Plant has that all day long. So I don't think that fight's going to happen, honestly.
I think that fight is going to happen. I think that fight is going to happen, and I think that Canelo stops Caleb Plant. What? Ninth round. Right. That's right. I said it. It's on wax. It's on wax. Ninth round stoppage, and also I think that Billy Joe Saunders gives Canelo a harder time than Caleb Plant because of his movement. But ultimately, I think that Billy Joe Saunders, he ain't no super middleweight. He ain't got power at super middleweight. He should be down at the middleweight. Boom. Ross Clark.
And another thing, I'm not going to. Anytime someone fights for PBC and another fighter is in a whole nother promoting company or whatever, I will never blame that fighter because PBC has a history of not making certain fights. So let's not just automatically put it on Canelo, because why would Canelo be afraid of someone that's not even going to give him a nosebleed?
100%. I totally agree. I'm
sorry, but no, that doesn't make any sense. No, listen, at the end of the day, Plant is a solid 168 pounder and Alvarez is on steroids. Okay. So no, I agree. Real talk. Okay. Real talk. So this argument that Plant won't give or can't give Alvarez a nosebleed. No, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, but no. I'm sorry.
Because you guys are saying afraid. Here's the thing. We're talking about Canelo. We don't even know if Plant can beat Benavidez. We don't even know if he could beat Billy Joe Saunders. We don't know if he could beat Chris Eubank Jr. Like, there's a whole roster of 168, and we jump into all of those fighters to automatically say, well, he could probably beat those guys, so let's just jump to Canelo.
But Benavidez can't even make the weight. Benavidez can't even make the weight to make the fight. So I don't even count him because he got the WBC belt 3 times. He loses it because he can't make weight. wins it back, lose it. So I ain't worried about no Benavidez. And
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question.
Have you seen Benavidez when he was a kid, EJ?
What's the question?
Have you seen Benavidez when he was a kid?
I don't need to. I'm talking about when he's a prophet.
No. Okay. The answer to that is no. Let me tell you this.
Can I ask this question?
Hold on. I saw Benavidez when he was a kid sparring in the gym, and he was very surprised because he didn't look. He was fat. Benavidez was a fat kid, which was very. I mean, fat. It was quite very, very shocking. So Benavidez is a fat kid who's trimmed down. So I just want to make that point. Benavidez has some fatness in his genes, but
he's unprofessional. Yeah, he's unprofessional. So when I'm talking about he's unprofessional, so I don't count him. And when you talk about, so I wouldn't mind that because I had him in number 1, and James DeGale never fought. But what I'm saying is that what we're talking about is Caleb Plant is just been there. He's doing his thing. He outboxes people, and he does it widely on the scorecards. And I like boxers who have that kind of apperment, and he has decent power. I don't like Billy Joe Saunders. I don't like him, but he beat Eubank. He beat Eubank and beat some other people.
Who wins a rematch out of Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr.?
Probably Billy Joe Saunders probably beats him again. But what I'm saying is, I don't really like Billy Joe Saunders, but I like the style. I like the style to beat Canelo and his bullshit, because he eventually, like everyone else, when he signed with Eddie Hearn, see, this is the thing, he was protected with De La Hoya, right? De La Hoya did so much things, but De La Hoya wanted to taste a piece of the pie. So he wanted to get some money as well. Canelo didn't like that, right? Because he's thinking he should have got more. So he got with Eddie Hearn, earn with Hearn. So Hearn will make him money. But what Eddie Hearn doesn't understand is that when it comes down to this boxing thing here, and you go, and now they realize the umbrella of protection is off you, which is off Canelo right now. He's open to get brought up. Trust me, bro. And if Eddie Hearn looks at it and said, well, look, he's got Billy Joe Saunders. So if you go Billy Joe Saunders, he loses there. Because why would Eddie Hearn want to deal with Canelo for that long when he's got Billy Joe Saunders, who's from the UK, where he could build Billy Joe Saunders better than Canelo? So he's going to want Billy Joe Saunders to win.
No power at super middle. The fight doctor.
Not physical power. Talking about power in terms of manipulating the decision is what I mean. Not boxing power.
Okay, the fight doctor? Who wins the rematch? Billy Joe Saunders or Chris Eubank Jr.?
Who cares? I don't.
The fight doctor. Who wins out of Billy Joe? No, but yeah, Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant.
Again, who cares? But honestly, I think probably Plant. I mean, I've never really been that impressed with Billy Joe Saunders.
Okay, Ross Clark, who wins, Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Plant?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
Fought better opposition, throws more punches.
I think so too. Okay.
But now, listen, here's a question I would like to ask, right?
All right, go ahead.
Who has the better resume at 168? Caleb Plant or Canelo Alvarez?
168. Okay. I'll put it out to the panel. Who has the better resume at 168? Caleb Plant. Excuse me?
Canelo does. Canelo has the better resume at 168.
Really? Who is he beating at 168?
He won his titles at 168.
That wasn't the question. The question was, who has he beat at 168?
168. Let me bring up his record. Canelo Alvarez.
Alvarez's resume at 168 is absolute garbage. He's beaten nobody.
It's not that impressive for a roid head. It's not that impressive.
Alvarez. Let's go. Canelo. What? No results? What do you mean no results for Canelo Alvarez?
You have to search under Saul.
Saul. S-A-U-L. Saul. Let's have a look.
I don't know. What's the big names on Caleb Plant's resume at 160?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's his resume? Go ahead, fight doctor. You pose the question, answer it.
Give us the big names Plant beat.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day,
Right.
if we look at
Okay, that's the answer at the end of the day. That's the answer at the end of the day. Okay. Where are we? So let me just bring that up a little.
He only fought two: Rocky Fielding, yeah, and Thingy Smith. That's it. Two names. Caleb Plant has based his career at thing. He beat Jose Ushanov, whatever his name, who beat the Darrell, and then he's got Caleb Truax. So is that Jose?
So Canelo beat Callum Smith at 168.
Smith, who
Rocky
better than Callum Smith?
Okay, so he ain't fought. He hasn't fought. He hasn't fought.
Wait, he beat Callum Smith.
He's only fought a couple of times at 168. So what's your point?
My point is that Alvarez's resume at once. And look, listen, the Callum Smith fight that was a setup. Okay, Smith was coming off of a long layoff and a 4-week training camp. So to count that win is ridiculous. All right, I mean, listen. Alvarez is easily the most protected fighter in all of boxing. Easily. The man has been fighting setups since essentially, look, the man has been taken off since the Golovkin rematch. He hasn't fought any stiff opposition since Golovkin, okay? So the fight with at 75 against what was that? Who did he fight at 75?
Sergey
Kovalev. Right. That fight was a joke. Kovalev was one punch away from getting knocked out in the previous fight, had been knocked out twice already. Yeah, the man's resume post Golovkin is horrible. It's atrocious. Okay?
Okay. Fight doctor. You said his resume is atrocious, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying his resume since the Golovkin rematch is atrocious. The man has not fought anyone since Golovkin.
Okay, so do you give that same energy to someone like Devin Haney, who has fought absolutely no one?
We are not talking about Devin Haney. Now, if we want to talk about Devin Haney and the rest of the lightweights, that's fine. I have no problem.
Principle.
But
it's not the same principle. It's not the same though. But Devin Haney ain't a real champion, and we're talking about things a real champion, so ain't the same.
Look, if the question is, does Devin Haney have a weak resume? Answer that question is yes. But we're not talking about Devin Haney. We're talking about Canelo Alvarez and his garbage resume.
Garbage resume. He beat Callum Smith. He beat Sergey. He beat Daniel Jacobs. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's middleweight. That's middleweight. We're talking about 168.
We're talking about the man's resume.
He said at 168. No, he said at 168. We're
talking about his order. If we're talking about his resume, I hope you like my belt. If you're talking about his resume strictly at 168 or strictly at 168, then yeah, he's only had 2 damn fights at 168. What?
Yeah, no, against bums, man. Against bums, but that's what it is. And he's fighting another one, bum. Huge is bums as well. Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, yeah, and this Huge guys, they're all bums. But this is the thing. Caleb Plant ain't fought better names either. So they like, I give Canelo the edge. I'll give Canelo the edge, but what we're saying is that he's a shyster. That was the answer to that question. He's a shyster, right? We know he's a shyster, and that's it.
I think I know what the problem is, Ralph. The reason why Fight Doctor is feeling this way because he picked Kovalev to beat Canelo, and he had to eat crow.
Stop. First of all, I did not pick Kovalev to beat Canelo. I picked Canelo to beat Kovalev because that fight was a setup. Anybody with half a brain knew Alvarez was going to win that fight and probably by knockout, okay? Because that fight is the definition of a setup. Please. Kovalev was done. Kovalev was done after the Ward rematch. Okay? Real talk.
Okay. I'm
just messing with you.
Yeah, we got to keep it moving. Because we had a long first section. I hope people are enjoying it. I hope you've smashed the like button. I hope you've hit the share button. And anyone who has not subscribed, please kindly do so. If you're enjoying the show, that is. And if you're not, get the hell on up out of here. Okay. So let me see what we're doing now, because it's coming close to the hour. It's coming close to the hour. So we're gonna have to fly through these next couple of segments. Where do I go first? Let's go with the Tyson Fury. Okay. Hold on. I'm not sharing that. How rude of me. Let me share my screen with you. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's make it bigger so everyone can see. Boom, boom. Yeah, one more time. Yeah, okay, we're good now. Okay, so Tyson Fury warns Anthony Joshua fighting him is like wrestling a T-Rex and claims he is indestructible. Okay, so Tyson Fury had a warning for heavyweight rival Anthony Joshua. He will be like coming up against a T-Rex. I already see a flaw in the argument, but I'll get into that later. The so-called Battle of Britain is set to go ahead in June after Eddie Hearn sent a contract worth $200 million to
Hey,
Fury.
Ralph, I gotta go. Ralph, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry to cut you off. I gotta go, Ralph.
Hey, appreciate you coming over. That was the Ross Clark. Much appreciation goes out to the Ross Clark. Take care, bro. Thanks for popping by. Okay, so we're coming close to the end. And Tyson Fury has some words for Anthony Joshua. And let's not beat around the bush. Let's get to the point, pertinent points. Okay. I punch harder. Everything is in my favor. When I take it to them, they can't deal with it. It's like wrestling a T-Rex. They can't win. I'm indestructible. I can't be beaten. If I'm injury-free and active, there is no losing. Fury also hinted that he's going to attack AJ from the off, just like he did in his victory against Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. The Gypsy King added, I did it with Wilder. I did it just like I did with Wilder. I see a flaw in that argument already, but it's okay. What is this here? They said he was going to box and move. They said he said I was going to box and move. What did I do? I went straight at him, bombs all the way through until he got stopped. I'm going to take a picture with the pint in the pub in the background every day. And at the end of the year, I'm going to put 365 of them onto a massive collage. I don't get that last bit, but the pertinent point there is that Greg Norman breaks his silence on what? Okay. But the pertinent point there is that Tyson Fury saying he's going to go at Joshua just like he did against Wilder. Let's go to the Fight Doctor first. Let's go to the Fight Doctor first on this. The Fight Doctor, where is he? You're muted.
Sorry, I missed the premise.
Okay,
My apologies.
so in a nutshell, Tyson Fury says he's going to go at Joshua the same way he did against. Yeah, that's the point. He's going to go at Joshua the same way he did against Wilder. The Fight Doctor.
Why is he ducking?
What?
Why is he ducking?
Oh, you mean, you managed to work Deontay Wilder into this again. Damn. You're like a super fan. Just deal with this first, and then we can talk about Deontay Wilder's disappearance second. But first things first.
Okay, so let me ask this question: has this fight been confirmed?
It is confirmed that it is in the making. Yes.
That was not the question. No. Question is, has this fight been confirmed? I'll believe it. Look, when they announce this fight and they have a date in the venue and they make an official announcement, that's when I will believe that this fight is going to happen. Until then, it's vaporware. So
Well, but what fight do you think? What do you think's going to happen? Do you think Deontay Wilder's going to magically appear like a genie out of the bottle?
But so honestly, look, if you're asking me if I can predict the future, the answer to that question is no. If I could, I'd be a very rich man.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do know is this: is that there's been a lot of talk, but there has been very little movement.
No, there's plenty. I just told you about the movement. The offer's been sent over. Offers been sent over to Tyson Fury's camp. Yeah. That's
okay, so they can send offers this, that, and the other, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, there's no venue, there's no date, there's no official announcement.
Well,
so
we
until that happens,
we know the region. It's likely to happen over there in Saudi. We know the time frame, which is somewhere up there in around June. So it's not exactly as if there's any mysteries involved. There are no mysteries involved.
Well, of course there are mysteries involved because A, we don't have a date. B, we don't have a venue. C, we don't have an official announcement. So it seems to me that there's plenty of mystery because we don't know when this fight is going to happen. We don't know where it's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen.
You don't know. You don't need to know where. You know the region. You don't need to know precise. You don't need the precise date. We know the time frame. I don't see why you're struggling to deal with the question. I don't see what the struggle is. Well,
wait. Deal with the question.
Why are you struggling?
The question that needs to be answered is this fight even going to happen?
Well, of course,
that's the question.
I mean,
really?
Deontay Wilder's out of the mix. So what else is there going to be?
Wait. So we know that Deontay Wilder is out of the question. Do we really know that? Because it seems to me again, it seems to me that there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of talk, but there are no definites. And I suspect that the reason why there are no definites is because there is some contract stipulation somewhere that is preventing Tyson Fury from making an announcement as far as his next fight, not being Deontay Wilder.
Contract? You mean contract stipulations regarding Deontay Wilder? So you still haven't accepted that Deontay Wilder is out of the mix? Is that what you're telling me? You still think that Tyson Fury is contractually obliged to fight Deontay Wilder next? Is that what you're telling me?
Here's what I'm telling you. Tyson Fury has not announced his next fight, right?
Excuse me?
Tyson Fury has not announced his next fight. Is that true?
He's announced the guy who is going to be fighting next, and that's
has there been an official announcement?
There has not been an official announcement as of yet.
Has there been any contract signed?
The contracts have been sent over. Contracts.
That wasn't the question.
They're in the contract state. Hold on, listen. Let's just cut all the. Yeah. Basically, you're saying that you still think that Tyson Fury is contractually obliged to fight Deontay Wilder next. Is that correct?
No, it's not what I'm saying.
Okay. What are you saying? What are you saying?
What I'm saying is there has been no announcement, no official announcement. So until there's an official announcement, until we have here's what. Until we have venue, until we have date, until we have official announcement, guess what we don't have?
That's nonsense, because in the was it the first or the second fight with Deontay Wilder, it was a long protracted period where there was no date and there was no venue. The fight still happened. So what?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, the fight happened, but before the fight happened, guess what you had? You had date, you had venue, you had official announcement. We have none of those things.
That was long drawn out. That was long drawn out. I think, was it the first fight or the second fight? It was long drawn out. They were saying, yeah, we're gonna fight. Don't know date, no venue, but we're gonna fight. So that wasn't a problem for you when with Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. I don't see why it should be a problem for you right about now. But anyway, we're moving over to EJ. Moving over to EJ boxing. Tyson Fury says he's gonna go at Joshua the same way he did to Wilder.
EJ boxing live, Rafi, but that's cool.
EJ boxing live.
Yeah. So what we're saying is that, there's not been anything official, you know, Fury's come out with Fury's talking the fight up before it's happened. You know, he's always like he's looked past Wilder, like it seems like it happened. But Fury, to me, look, that all that stuff he's saying, it's all kidology until the fight's been made. And as far as I know, the fight was made. I mean, what exactly do you want me to say, Rafi? Like to talk about the fight? You know,
yeah, talk about how the technique, because listen, I gotta step away from the mic for 60 seconds. So just talk about the techniques, the fight techniques. You and the fight doctor discuss it. I'll be back in 60 seconds.
Yeah. Well, Fury's got them gangsters behind them anyway. The killer hands in it. So far as everyone know after the documentary, wondering how that's gonna filter into the fight and any sort of influence and any sort of influences in the fight. In terms of the styles, most people I've talked to in the boxing industry, in the what do we call it? In the trade. That's what we call it over here. Most people in the trade, they're saying that they got Tyson Fury winning the fight. They said he's more rounded, he's got too much skill, and he's gonna take Joshua to school. You know what I mean? That's what most of the people are saying. If the fight goes ahead, I don't think so. I think AJ's fought a good stellar of competitions, and again, I always go back to people's, especially fighters, their professionalism of how they conduct themselves in their weight and how they deal with the fight and the lack of the opponents. You can't be fighting 1 minute you're fighting Deontay Wilder, next you're fighting Otto Wallum and these other bums, yeah, just to warm up or against, you know, even though they're undefeated, no one's never heard of them. But then you're just like, oh, but Wilder fought these guys. But you know, it's the same thing. It's lack of competition. And AJ, on the other hand, has been fighting guys steadily in the top 10 regularly. You know, always in the top 10. You know, these Wilder, Fury been fighting guys. And Wilder coming into that fight, he underestimated Fury, and he's been taking the mick in boxing for the longest. He just gives up rounds, and this all he's looking for is one punch, and that might have worked again the first fight where he knocked Fury down, but it didn't work in the second, 100%. So my whole thing is this: if they fight, I like people's professionalism, the way they did it, they discipline themselves to the sport. And if they fight, I'm gonna pick Anthony Joshua. I like Anthony Joshua's infighting. I think Fury on the outside will probably be best bet. But Fury, you know what? If he's aggressively coming forward, which he could do, I think that'll be interesting to fight Joshua. Because Joshua, to be fair, he's all right on the back foot. He's okay on the back foot. But for Fury to impose himself on AJ like that, ooh, that would be interesting, boy. You know what I mean? Just straight out like saying, I'm gonna roll up and I'm gonna take you apart like I did to Deontay Wilder. I think that would be interesting. If he took AJ apart, listen, hands down, yeah, he's one of the best fighters of the generation.
I honestly don't see that happening.
No, but we didn't see Fury doing that to Wilder either. But that's what I'm saying. Because if you really think about it, that's probably the best.
Joshua ain't no Wilder. Joshua can actually.
No, I know. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be that. But what I'm saying is that when you're looking at strategy, okay. When we're looking at all that stuff, doesn't matter when you get in the ring right now. It just shows when they get in the ring, they're both high level. They're the best of the best, right? But what I'm saying is, it's all about strategies and thing. And like I said to you, if Fury was to roll up on Joshua and start taking Joshua apart, that'd be well impressive. But that's what everyone thinks. What AJ is gonna do? AJ is gonna take Fury. You know, Fury's gonna try to box him, and AJ is gonna get close and try and knock him out if he gets close. So that's what most people think. But I think if you change it up, and Javon Hill's a very good strategist, I wouldn't be surprised if Fury done that. So listen, that worked before. AJ ain't never been put on the back foot and that sort of pressure. Why not? Let's just run it again. Let's run it back. I mean, what's the worstest thing could happen? So you know what I'm saying? So, and you see AJ didn't deal with pressure against Ruiz. So that could be a strategy, because we know what AJ is going to be about. AJ's going to take his time and throw bombs and try bombs early. You know, AJ, really with AJ, you worry about his stamina, like trying to throw hard punches and missing, and maybe his stamina blows at the end. But AJ's got excellent recovery. So even if AJ blows, gets tired, he does. People mention that, but his recovery ability is really good, and Fury's recovery is really good.
Yeah, they got absolutely. AJ can recover. Fury knows how to pace himself. The fight doctor.
Honestly, I think
carry on.
Honestly, I think at this point, I think you can make an argument based on what I saw in the Fury Wilder fight. Maybe Joshua's stamina is a bit better than Fury's. especially Fury. So Fury's what, 260, 270, 265 for the Wilder rematch?
Sorry, what was the question?
I think that Joshua, I think you can make an argument that at this point, at this stage, maybe Joshua has better stamina than Fury. And this is based on what I saw from Fury and from what I saw from Joshua in their last fights.
Okay, so in comes a man like the Big Boys Boxing. Big Boys Boxing, how do you do?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Hope you fellas are all good too.
Yeah, man. Sweet as a nut, as we say over here in the UK. So we're talking about Tyson Fury says he's going to take it to Joshua the same way he did against Wilder.
Yeah, well, he could do it. If he's going to fight like that, he better get it done within 6 days, because I don't think he's going to have the gas tank fighting like that against Joshua later on in the fight. If he goes balls to the wall, I think the other boys were talking about his stamina isn't going to be as good. But who knows what he's been doing in the meantime? Maybe he's going to improve his stamina before the fight. We haven't got a date or when it's going to happen yet. He's had a long time training with Sugar Hill in the Kronk gym now, so we'll see what happens. It's a very tough fight to call, I think. I think if he does go balls to the wall, it's going to be Fury early or it's going to be Joshua late.
Okay, so we've chopped that one up, and we go to. I've got a bad habit of putting a title piece in and not talking about what was in the title, so I got to do it. I got to go to this piece. It's a little bit of a trivial piece, but it don't matter. It's in the title piece, so we gonna do it. What does this here say? White absorbed all of AJ. Hey, my friend, I suggest you look at the last round of that fight. And even how many times did White get rocked? If you call getting rocked absorbing a shot, then yeah, you might have a point. But as far as I recall, White got dropped and stopped in this fight against AJ. So what else was I going to say? Before I go to the final piece. What was I going to say? It was something about Wilder. Yeah, the fight doctor. So Wilder's next fight is scheduled to be proposed to be spoken of as Charles Martin. How do you see that one going down?
Wilder by knockout.
Wilder by knockout. So you're acknowledging now that Wilder's not fighting a Fury next. Is that correct?
Listen, I don't know what's going to happen next, but what I do know is that apparently there is something in my mind. There's still something legally binding on Tyson Fury with regard to his contract to rubber match Deontay Wilder. Now, I don't know what that is. Apparently, maybe they've reached some type of settlement.
No, they ain't reached no settlement. They ain't reached no settlement because they're supposed to be going into arbitration, but there's no talk about arbitration.
Well, they've already gone to arbitration.
They haven't gone to arbitration. What did they?
Wait a minute.
Hold on. They've gone to mediation, my dear friend. Don't let me have to pull up the definition of arbitration and mediation. They have gone to mediation. The next step was then the Fury side, Wilder side was saying they're going to go to arbitration. But Fury just said, nah, I ain't fighting you. Contract's expired. I ain't fighting you. Jog on. That's an expression over here in the UK. It means get the hell on up out of here. So they were supposed to be going to arbitration. They've already been to mediation. But there's no talk about what's happening. There's no talk about what's happening in the arbitration. There's no talk about that. So
absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So just because there's no quote unquote talk about arbitration, mediation, or what have you, that doesn't mean that A, there hasn't been any arbitration or mediation, or B, that there aren't some type of terms or some type of contract that's binding between Fury and Wilder. Okay, so the fact that, and listen again, the fact that Fury has not yet announced his next fight speaks to my suspicions that he's legally bound some way or another, in some fashion, to Team Wilder.
Well, that's utterly ridiculous. When the fight, undisputed fight, between Joshua and Fury is in the making as we speak. The WBO,
Listen, the
WBO have set aside their objections, and they're now talking about Usyk versus Jordan. So that is another indication that I mean, if the evidence is right there, staring you in the face, and you refuse to see it, the fight, doctor, then so be it. But the evidence is there; it's clear and abundant.
Listen, there very well could be a Fury Joshua fight coming next. I'm not discounting that. What I'm saying is, and I would be surprised if that fight gets made, that there is not some language or there's something binding on either Fury or the winner of Fury Joshua, that they have to somehow compensate Deontay Wilder for him not getting his rubber match.
Well, why would they need to compensate the guy if the previous contract had expired?
Well, neither of us have seen the contract, so we don't know what type of language was in the contract.
Well, maybe perhaps there's some maybe perhaps. Look, it seems to me like if they went to mediation, then apparently something was made of it, because you don't go to mediation unless you have to. Well, no, I mean, he wasn't legally. Well, it was in the contract that they mediation was an option. They went to the mediation, and Tyson Fury response was, no, the contract's expired. See ya. I ain't fighting you again. It's over. Hasta la vista, baby. But anyway, that's another discussion. For another day. So I just want to get to this last piece. This little last piece. It's more of an entertaining piece, or is it an entertaining piece? Are you entertained? Will you be entertained? Okay. So like I said before, anybody in here who's enjoyed the show, smash that like button. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and by all means, hit that share button. Okay, I think it's been a scintillating one, but we got the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Where are we? Am I sharing it yet? No. Let me share my screen with you as we close out the show. Okay, so where are we? Can you see what I can see? Yes. Okay, so Mayweather is planning a trip to the UK to meet the parents of a Brit stripper girlfriend, Anna Monroe, and show them the real Floyd. Okay, so allegedly, Floyd Mayweather, as you see on your screen, is dating one of the girls who works at his, ladies selection. And you see her there working, twerking. And we'll see her again there. It looks like is in Greece. The Acropolis, is that what they call it? The Acropolis. Never been there myself, but it is on my list of things to do. And there is the lady in question, who one of Floyd's employees, who he's taken a shine to, and as a result of this. Her name is Anna. As a result of this, Floyd will be paying a visit to the UK. EJ Boxing. Floyd's coming to the UK. EJ Boxing. Floyd is coming to the UK. Has he gone? He might be away from the mic. The fight doctor. Floyd is coming to the UK.
So Mayweather is honestly, I didn't know this. Mayweather is honestly dating a stripper. Seriously.
Mayweather is dating one of his employees from Girl Collection.
Right. if Mayweather is honestly dating a stripper, no less, a stripper who actually works for him, then the only thing I can say is Floyd Mayweather has absolutely positively no game whatsoever. None. And his player's card needs to be revoked. Seriously.
OMG. So what's wrong with dating a stripper?
There's nothing wrong with dating a stripper, okay? If you're the average Joe like me, right? Nothing wrong at all. But you are Floyd Mayweather Jr. You made $500 million.
Background noise.
So I'm going through the car wash. My apologies.
Right. Okay, carry on. You can't help it. No problem.
Right. But look, there's nothing wrong with dating a stripper, okay? I like strippers, okay? Yeah. No problem. But there's something wrong with dating a stripper when your name is Floyd Mayweather and you made $500 million in a night. There's a problem there.
No class? No class? Would you say no class?
No game. We know he has no class. But that's okay. You can have no class, but at least have some game. But it's worse when you have no class and no game. And apparently, Floyd Mayweather has zero game.
Dame. Yeah, it's a strange one. It's a strange one. Floyd Mayweather dating one of his employees. It's a very, very strange one to think that your missus, if you're Floyd Mayweather, I have to kind of agree with the fight doctor to a certain extent with this one. When you think that your missus has been gyrating in men's laps for a living, and yeah, it's a very strange one.
Look, real talk, right? Real talk.
Yeah.
Have you looked around Hollywood lately? Have you looked around like just like TV?
No, I don't look. I don't really watch TV like that. I don't really watch Hollywood like that. I just watch documentaries, to be honest.
There are lots and lots and lots of professional women out here who are paid and who are beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're Floyd Mayweather, so you have access to all of these intelligent, beautiful, paid women, right? You have access to these women, but you want to go and date a stripper who works for you.
Yeah, it's not very impressive. It is not very impressive. Mayweather planning a UK trip to meet parents of a Brit stripper girlfriend, Anna Monroe. I mean, disclaimer. You know, back in the day, Rafi used to work in a strip club. And you know, Rafi did date some strippers. But I ain't Floyd Mayweather. I ain't got how many 100 million in the bank. And I think if you're Floyd Mayweather, I don't know if it's a good look. As a matter of fact, I might definitively say no. It ain't a good look. There are many professional women out there who you know, you could be entertaining. It's kind of low class, let's face it. For a guy of his caliber, it's kind of low class. Yeah, so that's the story. A lot of people don't know about the story. Yeah, why not a professional woman? Why not a lawyer? Why not date a lawyer? You know, she can give you free advice, save you a few grand.
Look, real talk, right? Real talk. Mike Tyson's wife. Have you seen Mike Tyson's wife?
Beautiful. She's a doctor.
She's a doctor, and she's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
This woman can have any man that she wants, right? Yeah. She's paid. She's intelligent. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Somehow, Mike Tyson, right? And Mike Tyson doesn't have the money that he used to have. Okay.
No.
But somehow he was able to endear himself to top shelf. Okay.
Yeah. Prime ass.
Prime real estate.
Yeah. Prime real estate.
It don't get no better.
Don't get no better than that.
Right.
And yeah, but Floyd.
So
Floyd,
what the hell happened with Floyd? What the hell? I just don't get it, dude. Listen, I mean, basically, you are her pimp. If you want to be real, she's look. It'd be a different thing if she was like, his accountant. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know, working in some other capacity, and you happen to start dating. Okay, cool. I can actually see that. But this woman is a stripper who works for you, and you're dating a stripper who works for you. So you are essentially pimping this woman, and now you're pimping / dating her.
Yeah.
And this is the best you can do, Mr. $500 million in a night, Floyd Mayweather.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. I don't know if EJ Boxing has come back. Has he? No. Okay. So that is the story. That's the lead story. Well, it's the ending story. That's the ending story. I don't know. She don't get it twisted. The lady does look good. The lady does look good, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Let me just drop this down a little bit, try and get the whole on that. So that is what Floyd Mayweather. That's what Floyd Mayweather is up to. He's coming to the UK to see his to see the pair. Well, I imagine he's doing various things, but one of the things he'll be doing is coming to see the parents of his employee stroke stripper girlfriend. Don't get high on your own supply. Cuss had Mike reading The Art of War and European War History. Looks way better than Pamela Anderson. Looks way better than Pamela Anderson to Mike. But that's not the point. The point is, Floyd Mayweather is dating his stripper employee. And what can I say? I'm going to leave it to the people in the chat. Leave your comments in the permanent comment section. And that brings us to the close of another excellent show. I had to give out shout outs to all of the panelists. Starting first guy to come in was EJ Boxing. And then there was the Iron Kong. And then there was... I think it was you next, the Fight Doctor, and then Ross Clark came in, and then the Big Boys Boxing came in also. So, and of course, I have to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat who came over here and added to the thing. Floyd just doing some quality control, sampling the cookies. Shouldn't sample the cookies. Okay, so final words from the Fight Doctor, because I think EJ's gone.
So, Floyd Mayweather, definitely all-time great in the ring. And you can never take away his accomplishments as a professional prize fighter, right?
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather outside of the ring, in my opinion, first-class idiot, house Negro, who had set back black men 20 years. Seriously. With his shucking and jiving, with his Negro act. I think the man is a first-class idiot. And an idiot of the first order whose insecurity could blanket the whole of North America.
Dang.
Seriously. The man has some serious problems, some serious insecurity problems. No question. Okay? Because me personally, if I were paid like Floyd Mayweather Jr., I would be pushing up on some of these fine sisters who got jobs, who got education, who got paid.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll be pushing up on some of them women. Strippers, I wouldn't even giving them a second look. Like, you got 3 feet, okay? 3 feet. You can't even see me. I can't, no. I'll be looking at those lawyer sisters. I will be looking at those sisters who are on TV, like news, like the sisters who are doing the nightly news.
Yeah.
Dude, have you watched like the news? These various news channels.
I don't
There
watch
is
TV.
dude. Just take a minute and go to YouTube and watch like the news snippets from these various channels around the country, around the world. Dude, they're like these young sisters who are fine and who are educated and who are on TV, independent, and who look good.
Yeah, look great. Look
So,
great.
in Floyd Mayweather's income level, you have access to all of these women,
Yeah.
but you want to go date a stripper.
Oh,
And a stripper who I don't even consider A class.
oh, dame. Okay. And I think that sums it up. I think we're gonna leave it there. Floyd Mayweather coming to the UK to visit the parents of his latest girlfriend, who happens to be an employee and a stripper. So Fight Doctor, thanks. Those are the words of Fight Doctor. Much thanks, and I'll see you again.
That's I'm sorry, that's hit it and quit it, okay? That's what that is. I mean, real talk. Hit it and quit it.
I might hit it twice. Though. I might hit it twice. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times. I might do it 3 times. 3 times.
But I'm not bringing a stripper home to meet moms. I'm just not.
No.
It can't happen.
No. That's going too far. Unless she's quitting the game or something, you know what I mean? Unless she's got a college education, she had a degree, she was just working to get through, finish off a degree. I can understand that. But okay. I think we've chopped it up. We've gone through the whole damn show. It's been a good one. It's been a lively one. Fight Doctor, thank you very much. And we'll talk again later on in the week. Okay. Peace out. That was the Fight Doctor. Okay. And DJ Boxing is still absent. Yes. DJ Boxing's gone. Okay. And so we've come to the end of another fine show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. Mr. Raphael Dawkins. It's the thanks to everybody who took time out of the day to come over and spend it here with me, with us. You could have been anywhere in the world. We chose to be here, and that is appreciated. Okay, so it's the Raphael Dawkins. Obviously, more shows. Look out for the live shows during the week, Wednesdays and Fridays. Hey, they go out whenever they go out. And look out for the videos. Is Floyd going to Birmingham Spearmint Rhino, the biggest in Europe, allegedly? Nah, that one closed down, but there's another one on the Hagley Road. It's a smaller one. Okay, so it's the peace out from the Raphael Dawkins. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares. And it is hitting that bell icon to stay updated for news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And we are out blessed.